and welcome to the 25th Youth Summit. Let's go. Hello. All right, my name is Alexa Vasquez, and I am chair of Riverside County Youth Commission, and I am representing the 4th District Supervisor, V. Manuel Perez, and I am very excited to be here today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Angie Cortez Ramos, the Secretary of Riverside County Youth Commission. I represent 2nd District Supervisor Karen Spiegel, and today we'll be serving as your Masters of Ceremonies. Before we begin, thank you. Before we begin, we would like to tell you a little about Riverside County Youth Commission, which is the program that sponsors the event that has brought us all together today. We hope you enjoyed this short video about our program.
On January 6, 1998, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors approved the formation of a countywide youth commission to advise the board on issues relevant to youth in the county, thus interacting on a personal level with the youth and better responding to the needs and making policy decisions. 5 youth advisory councils were created representing each supervisoral district. The 5 councils, along with the commission, provide advice, assistance, and recommendations on youth-related issues to the Board of Supervisors. Students are elected into officer positions within each council. This includes a commissioner who facilitates the Youth Advisory Council meetings and participates in the bi-monthly Youth Commission meetings. Throughout the school year, students meet regularly with their councils, provide hundreds of hours of community service, and participate in Youth Commission projects. The Youth Commission hosts 3 annual events for Riverside County youth. The goal of the Youth Retreat is to excite and prepare the students for the school year by providing them with necessary skills and information they will need to become effective Youth Advisory Committee members. Youth in Government Day is an event where students are paired with county employees based on their interest and career aspirations for a day of job shadowing. Youth Summit is a conference that's held annually and is completely sponsored by the Youth Commission. High schools from throughout the county are invited to attend the event, where we have several speakers discuss topics that are important to today's youth. The Riverside County Youth Commission is an enjoyable and rewarding experience open to every high school student in Riverside County. If you're interested in developing leadership skills, serving your community, and having a voice for youth, then apply today. You can find more information at RivCo, YAC.org. On January 6, 1998, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors approved the formation of a countywide youth commission to advise the board on issues relevant to youth in the county.
I hope you all enjoyed a sneak peek of what the Youth Commission is all about. And if you're interested in joining us, please visit the YAC exhibitor booth during the breaks. Now, at this time, I'd like to welcome the 5th District's YAC Commissioner, Jimena Arango, to lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Arango. Let's give her all a round of applause again. The Youth Commission is an amazing event that is made possible because of the ongoing support the Youth Commission receives from Riverside County's Board of Supervisors. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from the 4th District Supervisor, V. Manuel Perez. Supervisor Perez has been on the Riverside Board of Supervisors representing the 4th District since May of 2017. Supervisor Perez has been always a strong supporter of youth in Riverside County and is always actively involved in the Advisory Council. It is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome Supervisor Victor Manuel Perez.
Thank you, Alexa. Yo, how do I follow that? Alexa's got so much energy, it's awesome. I feel it. How's everybody doing today? I'm glad you're here. You know, it takes a little bit of courage, if you will, even though it's more of a conference and you get to sit and listen, but to decide to become a leader. And I think that's what you're doing here today, in your own way, directly or indirectly. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. You know, my name is Victor Manuel Perez, and I represent the 4th District, which is the Coachella Valley, and I always wear my Dodger cap. Go Dodgers. I assume we don't have any Dodger fans here either. We have Dodger fans, or we don't have Dodger fans here? Who here is from the 1st District? Raise your hand. All right. Cheer if you're from the 1st District. All right. Cheer if you're from the 2nd District. Cheer if you're from the 3rd District. You got to work on that, cheer. All right, cheer if you're from the 4th District. Cheer if you're from the 5th District. Wow. All right, you guys got the award. I also understand we got students from La Quinta High School. All right. We got students from Palm Desert High School. You got a good cheer there. We got students from Indio High School. All right. We got students from Norco. Oh, you got to try that again. John F. Kennedy Middle College High School in Norco. Is that correct? All right. Did I miss any schools? And obviously we have a lot of YAC students, correct? Awesome. Well, look, let's talk a little bit about leadership and what that means. You know, today is March 31st, and today is someone's birthday, obviously. It may be someone here. But one of my favorite individuals, a leader who passed away, who would have turned 96 years old today, is Cesar Chavez. You guys know who Cesar Estrada Chavez is? Right? A UFW, United Farm Worker organizer, who organized on behalf of social justice, who organized on behalf of farm workers. And the reason why I see him as a leader and someone that I had the privilege of getting to meet and learn from when I was a student at UC Riverside and heard him speak and had the opportunity to interact with him is because he fought for farm workers. And my parents were farm workers. My mother and my father picked grapes when they were growing up. My mother started working in the fields when she was 14 years old. She didn't go past 8th grade. My father started working in the fields when he was 17 years old. He actually graduated from high school, from CV High, as a matter of fact. Woo-hoo. I graduated from CV High, and so did one of my sons as well. We're 3rd generation CV High graduates, I guess, by now. But Cesar Chavez, because of what he did on behalf of farm workers, and my mother would tell me stories, you know, for me, he's a true leader. Very just, very committed, very dedicated, very loyal to the cause. And I want you to consider and think about, what does it mean to be a leader for you? Like, how do you define that? What does that look like to you? And for me, a leader is an individual that, in my case, fights for social justice, is against injustice. is against folks that maybe discriminate against others, and against exploitation and against intolerance. And rather than that, is for example, equality or equity or justice, fairness. And what does that mean and what does that look like? Well, that everyone has equal access to a better education. That all of you here, no matter where you decide to go after high school, if you decide to apply to a college, that you have an equal opportunity to be accepted and to be able to go to that college that you so choose to go to. That everyone has access to clean drinking water, to housing. We have so many people out here in the 4th District, for example, that don't even have clean drinking water. And this is the United States of America. We have so many people out here, for example, that are farm workers that Cesar Chavez fought for that don't even have somewhere to sleep. And they sleep under palm trees or they sleep in their cars. We have so many people out here and throughout the county of Riverside, unfortunately, that potentially don't have access to a dentist or to health care. You know, when I was a kid growing up in Coachella, that's where I'm from, Cochelita, Avenue 53, my parents didn't have health insurance. And when I was growing up, I had bad teeth. My teeth were always, I was always in pain, maybe because of the bottle growing up. And I had to see the dentist quite often. But because we didn't have insurance, I had to wait to the end of the week because my parents worked from Monday through Friday in the fields. And so we had to wait to the end of the week because then we would drive out to Mexicali so I can finally go see a dentist. And I know that there are probably people here right now sitting in front of me that are probably in the same situation where you have to drive to Mexicali to go see a dentist or go see a doctor. Or your parents might have to do that. Well, justice, in my opinion, and what Cesar Chavez fought for as a leader, fought for that we don't have to continue to do that anymore. And so, I guess my point is, folks, is that we learn from others, individuals like him, or Dolores Huerta, individuals like her, who also fought alongside Cesar Chavez in the United Farm Worker Movement, or Larry Itliang, who was part of AWOC, Agriculture Worker Organizing Committee, who happened to be Filipino Americano. They joined together on behalf of farm workers so that they could get equal pay, or better pay rather, or so they can have access to higher education in their kids one day, or so they can have access to health care. You know, back in the day, people like to think that the first boycott was in Delano, California, in the Central Valley. The first boycott was in Coachella, California. And as a result of the victory here in Coachella, California, that boycott, the Delano boycott was won as well. You know what they were fighting for? They were fighting for 15 cents more. 15 cents. They were probably making at that time like $2, $3 an hour. And they were fighting for 15 cents. And at that time, unfortunately, the growers did not accept that. So they decided to do a boycott. They used a nonviolent strategy. You know, Cesar Chavez learned from another leader known as Mahatma Gandhi. Y'all heard of Mahatma Gandhi? Okay. About using nonviolent tactics. And so Cesar used the boycott as a way to raise awareness and educate people about the plight and the struggle of farm workers in order for them to finally receive that extra 15 cents. So they can have a little bit more in their pocket to be able to buy their groceries. A little bit more in their pocket so they can put gas in their vehicle to get somewhere. A little bit more in their pocket so they can buy something for their children. And so Leadership, in my opinion, is an individual that sacrifices oneself as well on behalf of others. Leadership, in my opinion, is someone that really thinks about humanitarianism and believes in the community of individuals, the community of man, the community of woman. That is also a speech that was given by Martin Luther King Jr. You heard of Martin Luther King Jr.? Yeah. I had a professor when I was at Harvard University. I had the opportunity to go to Harvard. Being the son of immigrant farm workers, growing up in Cochelita, I actually had an opportunity to go to UC Riverside and then eventually got to Harvard, and now I'm back home, and this is what I do now as a supervisor. But I had a professor by the name of Chuck Willie. Chuck Willie organized with Martin Luther King Jr. back in the day. And he was one of my professors in a course in which we talked about social activism, organizing. And he used to talk to us about soul power. He says, we all have soul power in us. That soul power in us comes from within. And he said, no matter how much they beat us down, no matter how much they want to incarcerate us, no matter how much they tell us, no, you cannot do that, or you're not accepted here, they can never take away your soul power. They can never take away your education. They can never take away your dignity if you do not allow it. Because we have that soul power. I never forgot that. And to this day, I try to live by that. And I try to influence others, and I try to give that soul power that I have, that I learned from Chuck Willie, who learned from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I try to expand that and give that out to folks like yourselves. Because I want you to believe in yourself. I think it's important that as leaders, we also understand that we are individuals, we are people, we are human beings, and we deserve every right, no matter what it is that we so choose, we have every right to be where we need to be. And when people say no to you, think about that and ask yourself why. Why not? Why can't I not be a teacher? Or why can't I not be a doctor? Or why can't I not be an engineer? Or why can't I not be an entrepreneur? Why can't I be the leader of this team? I ask you to push yourself and to be the model. To demonstrate to others that yes, they can. That yes, you can. Too many times we're told no. Too many times we're told, we don't have time for you. Turn that around, flip the script. And do it like a statesman. Do it diplomatically. Do it with data, with proper language, a good message, a good heart, with kindness, compassion. That's a leader. So how many of you here are leaders? Raise your hand. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Everybody here should be raising their hands. Everybody here should be raising their hands. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. There you go. There you go. Don't be scared. There you go. Because look, I have to count on you. I have to count on you. You're the future. You're next. Sooner or later, I'm going to retire. I'm going to chill at the beach and go surfing every day. I mean, at least I hope so. That's my goal, is to be able to say, you know what? I did my time, and now it's my son's turn. It's your turn. I get to chill and surf a little bit more, but obviously give back, always. Always give back. How many of you are going to apply to higher education? Raise your hand. Word. Where are you going to school? Where do you want to go? UCLA. Bam. What do you want to do? Criminal justice. Where do you want to go? UC Davis. Where do you want to do there? All right, all right, all right. Who else raised their hand? Everybody here should be raising their hand. What do you want to do, man? UC Davis, what do you want to do there? All right, that's like the #1 school in veterinarian, right? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Right there, buddy. All right, all right, all right. What do you want to do there? All right, all right, all right. Well, I had a chance to go to Harvard. It's cold, man. You better take a lot of jackets because it's cold. The East Coast is cold in the winter. How about you, Mia? USC, what do you want to do? Golly, could you say that again? Wow. So what does that mean? What does that do? That's dope. That's really cool. All right, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Right there, man. You said it. What do you want to do? Okay, perfect. Did I see you raise your hand? Stanford. All right. That's like the Ivy League of the West Coast. What do you want to do? Family law attorney. All right, awesome. How about back there? There you go, way back there. I saw that hand. All right, what do you want to do with that? Wow, okay, well, look, don't run against me, all right, because you'll whoop me. Where do you live now? All right, so you'll run against, I think that would be Ishan Gutierrez. I don't got nothing to worry about then. Okay, right there with that cap. That's right. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Well, I'm sorry, where? Boston College? All right, just like I said, just be careful because it gets cold out there. But the Boston Red Sox stadium is a nice stadium. I've been to that. It's really nice. It's cool. Right there, right in front of you, right there. Yes. Okay, UCLA, what do you want to do? All right, but you're going to think about it, right? Right there. Both of you. One of you guys go first. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry? All right, what do you want to do? BC Berkeley, computer science. How about yourself? Right next door, right next to him. That's awesome. I love that. How about yourself? You want UCLA political science, you want to do what? Okay. So look, that all requires leadership there. What if someone told you you can't do that? What if someone said to you, you can't go to Harvard, you can't go to UCLA, you can't go to Stanford, you can't go to Berkeley, you can't go to Davis? What if someone told you that? What are you going to do? You're going to work hard. You're going to say, yes, I can, right? You're not going to stop. You're not going to allow someone to tell you you can't, or are you? My point to you is that there's going to be times when people are going to say to you, it's not your time, or no, you can't. But you have to be willing to dig deep inside and into your soul power and say, you know what, I am a leader. I'm going to make it happen. And that's what you have to do. Salud. That's what I've had to do a few times as well. Because in my life, I've been told on various occasions that I can't do certain things. But because of my parents and my education and my soul power, I was able to say, you know what, I'm going to try to figure this out and I'm going to make it happen. So that's my message to you. Dig deep inside, demonstrate your leadership, and go make it happen. Are you down? Are you down? Are you down? All right, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I got some names that I got to just call out very quickly, okay? Because I just want to say thank you to them. Rachel Babcock, right there. Hey, Rachel, coordinator. UCR, Palm Desert Center. This is my alma mater, my undergrad. This is where I went to school. But in Riverside, whoever's here from UC Riverside that's allowing us to be here today, muchas gracias. Thank you so much. On my staff, Stephanie Virgen, Perla Elizalde, who's not here no longer with us, but she's moved on, and Anitza Juarez, thank you so much. We have Youth Commission staff for the 1st District, Jordan Morris, 2nd District. All right. 2nd District, Jackie Armenta. 5th District, Valeria Enciso. And then I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Renova Energy, the Standing Associates, as well as our Sheriff Department, who's outside, the RivCo team. Give it up to the RivCo team. And I also want to say thank you for our speakers, Dr. Jason Jones, who's going to be speaking next on the Riverside County Office of Education. Ashley Bautista from Partners Against Violence. Chloe Diaz, a youth advocate. And my colleague, who will probably be coming sometime soon, Supervisor Karen Spiegel. All right, folks, go make it happen. Go get them. Thank you.
Wasn't he awesome? On behalf of the Youth Commission and all of Riverside County, thank you so much, Supervisor Perez, for your continued support and that has made such a big difference in our community. So thank you again. It is exciting to see so many students, school staff, administrators, community leaders that have come here together where we are going to learn all about the issues that are affecting youth in our communities. The Youth Commission staff has spent many months planning for this event, and we're thrilled to finally being able to show you and share this experience with you.
You guys checked out the exhibitor booths this morning. You also have 2 more opportunities during our event to go during break and throughout lunchtime. Please be sure to gather resources and information from them. Inside your student folders that you should have picked up from your bag, you will find an exhibitor bingo card. Please take that with you when you go and visit the exhibitors and get that stamped because we'll be collecting them at the end of the event. You can be entered into a raffle after that's all completed. So we're also provided with some raffle tickets coming in this morning. So you'll also be nominated for our prize items. You can win a hydro flask, Beats earbuds, and an instant camera. So if you haven't already done so, be sure to stop by our raffle table to decide on which items you would like. You can put them into our 3 different boxes or put them all into one. So be careful on deciding your strategy because that is just part of half the fun.
All arrived, you received a goodie bag and a Youth Summit folder. Inside the folder, you will find several resources such as the speaker bio sheet, the handouts of some of the speakers, and a welcome letter. In your goodie bags, you will find fun items from our sponsors, and as well as some Youth Commission merchandise, including a lanyard, sunglasses, pens, and of course, your very own Commission drawstring backpack. Once again, we'd like to thank all of the Youth Commission staff and sponsors for these fun items. This event is going to be really great today, and we just wanted to show how much fun you are having. So we encourage you to take pictures and share on our social media using the hashtag RivCoYS2023 and tag us at RivCo Yak. We will be having a social media contest based on the content that we will receive from you today. If you post using both our hashtag and tag us, you will be entered at a raffle at the end of today. So don't forget to show your experiences.
Now, we also got a little introduction about what our day is going to consist of from Supervisor Perez. But our event for today, as he said, will consist of informative and interactive seminars on the topics of academic burnout, sexual assault prevention, and finding yourself. These are all topics that were voted on by the Riverside Youth Commission, including myself and Alexa, because we feel these are important topics for our youth to discuss. We expect everyone to please be on their best behaviors and be respectful of our speakers, staff, and guests who worked hard to come here and put this event all together for us. So many people worked very hard for it, and we hope you enjoy your time with us today. That being said, here are some guidelines we would like you to follow. So please pay attention and stay off your phones during presentations and be active listeners. Be respectful and keep side conversations for breaks and lunch. We expect you to give our speakers your undivided attention. No food or drinks besides water is allowed in the theater, and if we see you with anything other than water, we will ask you to please step outside and finish your drink. If at any time during the day you need to use the restrooms, they're located in the back, going to your right, but please try to keep the disturbances to a minimum during presentations if possible, and try to use the restrooms during your breaks or during lunch. Please make sure you're wearing your wristbands, as it is how our safety team will recognize that you're with our event, and it is also your lunch ticket for today. If at any point you have any questions, please ask a youth advisory coordinator who you can find around in a gray polo, and they will be more than happy to assist you. For your safety purposes, we have 2 sheriff deputies on duty to ensure we maintain a safe space. If at any time safety needs arises, then please inform them or a staff member.
Thank you, Angie. Okay, are you all ready to welcome our first speaker? I can't hear you. All right. Our first speaker today is Dr. Jason Jones, who is the Director of Pupil and Administrative Services with Riverside County Office of Education. His work focuses on leadership and student services, underscoring prevention and intervention in areas of bullying, suicide prevention, substance abuse, and restorative practices. He will be presenting today on academic burnout. Please help me welcome Dr. Jason Jones on stage.
Hey! Thank you guys so much. Who's excited to be here? Have you guys been waiting for this day? Like March 31st couldn't get here soon enough? I know, I've been the same way. I was just like, oh, it's here. Okay, March 31st. Yes. Okay, I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Coming to you from Riverside County Office of Education, our superintendent, Dr. Edwin Gomez, sends his regards. He is so excited to be the superintendent for all of Riverside County, every district that's represented here. Dr. Gomez is the education superintendent for all of those areas, and so we just greatly appreciate the invitation and are excited to talk to you guys a little bit today about academic burnout. Now, before I jump in, I want to make sure that we're clear about a couple of things, okay? One thing is we're going to have a little bit of fun. Now, when we have a little bit of fun, we got to bring it back together. So we're going to, we're going to get out of our seats a little bit, and then we're going to bring it together. And then we're going to get out, and then we're going to come back together. So let's just make sure that, when it's time to come out, we come all the way out, and we get lit, and we get live. And then when it's time to come back together, we get proper. And we become the people in the seats who, listen to presenters and do all the good things that we need to do, okay? Everybody good with that? All right, cool. The other thing is that some of what I'm going to share with you might be difficult to hear. And if that's you, if there's anything that I say that brings up some feelings for you that you need to talk about, or an experience that you had in the past that you need to connect with someone and talk to someone about, okay? Please be sure to either find one of the representatives for this event. Make sure to connect with one of them. your teachers, advisors, someone who you can talk to. Because some of the things that I want to talk to you about might be a little bit challenging to hear and to kind of go through. And some of you may share in some of these experiences. And so if that's the case, then I want you to connect with someone. If you're not comfortable connecting with an adult here, then there is a crisis line that is real simple, 988. Anybody ever heard of 988? Couple people? Okay. If you dial 988 and push send, you will get to a counselor and somebody to talk to. If you text 988, someone, a counselor, will text you back, and they will get you connected to resources. You've also got tons of people out there who can get you connected to resources, okay? So if at any point that you are feeling like, hey, I need to talk to someone or whatever it is as I'm sharing some different things, then by all means, make sure that you make that connection. And while I'm here, I'm available for you to talk to as well. Is that all right? Yeah. All right, cool. Let's jump into it then. Okay, so academic burnout and how we can extinguish it. Let's see. Oh. No. Oh, wait, maybe. Oh, wait, it's not on. Hold on. There we go. Hey, all right. I got a doctorate, y'all. I can figure this out. All right, when we're talking about academic burnout, the technical definition that the World Health Organization kind of identifies for us is this. They say that academic burnout is a set of symptoms that results from chronic stress that has not been successfully managed. Let me say it to you this way. All the stuff that you have been going through, all the stress that comes on, that you ignore, that you say, it's not that big a deal, that people tell you, that's just a part of growing up, that's a part of being a kid. You know what? It'll be better tomorrow. Just go take a nap and then you'll be fine. Here, baby, eat something and then you'll be okay, right? All of those things, what we've identified is that burnout happens when you keep having that stress and you don't do anything about it. You just stressed. And you go from one stress to the next stress. You just go from one period where you're just like, man, I'm going through a lot in this class, and then the next class, there's a lot going on, and there's stuff happening at home, and then your friends are going through things, and you're the person that they love to talk to about their problems, and so you're trying to help them with what's going on with their problems, and you're just dealing with all this stuff. And burnout now happens where you don't manage what that looks like. You don't take care of yourself in that way. What we found is that burnout actually is not classified necessarily as a medical condition, though. So some people want to take burnout and say, you know what, this is a medical condition, this is a mental health issue, or something like that. It's not, okay? What we have done, though, is we've listed it as a classification of diseases, and we've classified it as a disease that some people can have where they experience burnout. So it's a real thing. So anyone who tells you it's just kind of, not that big a deal, no. It's a big deal, okay? We have classified it multiple times over to say this is something that we need to pay attention to. However, we have not identified it as a medical condition. But here's the thing, and this is what I want to, impress upon you today. Burnout becomes the gateway into the other things that are medical conditions. It's the door that leaves it open for you to experience anxiety, for you to experience depression, for you to experience physical illness, for sometimes you to have the option and think about suicide. That's the reality to burnout. All it does is it opens the door, and then you start looking at things, and all of a sudden in your life, you're feeling this sense of anxiety. You're feeling depression. You're getting sick physically. And you're like, what is happening? What's going on? Like, why is all this stuff going on? Because we have not managed it. We have not dealt with it. We've just kind of treated it like it's just something that I can just, get over, and then that's it. So what are some of the causes? If this is you, I want you to put a hand up. Who's got a heavy academic workload? Ooh, man. Oh, man, that's like every hand in here. I heard some of those colleges you all are applying to. Those aren't easy schools to get into, okay? Heavy academic workload can create burnout. If you've had to move from your home, so if you've been in a transition this past year where you've had to move, anybody had to move? Raise your hand. Some people who had to move, okay? There we go. I was talking to one of my social workers yesterday. She just recently had to move, and she was feeling some work burnout. Just off, and it's like, just off of a move, moving is difficult. And depending on how often you have to move, then that can be even more challenging for you, okay? How many of you felt stressed about choosing your major? Yeah, right? Because in our minds, this is the last time that you will ever have a chance to pick a major. Nope, not true, okay? I know, you've got it set, you've got it identified, you're like, this is what I'm gonna do. And then somewhere in college, you might figure out that that's not really what you like anymore, which is why they have the ability to change your major, okay? But that creates a stress. If you have low grades, if you're competing with your peers, how many of you guys know who's got the top GPA in your class? Who the valedictorian is, where your ranking is? Yeah, this is the right group. We found the right group. I know you do. You comparing like, oh, they have a 4.95 half. How did they get that half? Is it weighted or non-weighted, right? I know, I've been there, I get it, it's important. Well, I'm the real valedictorian. The school doesn't identify, like, they just let us share the seat. Ridiculous, okay? You might find yourself competing. If you're struggling to find a job, who's working while they're going to school right now? Okay? Yeah. Some of you guys got to hold down jobs. Losing friends, struggling to make new friends, trying to get an internship, feeling isolated during remote learning. That was a big thing while we were going through COVID. People just feeling isolated about all the stuff that was going on. If you were failing at managing money, or if you're struggling with some types of debts and just some money issues, all these things start to create stressors for you. And here's what happens. It just starts to deteriorate you throughout. All of a sudden, something happens and you're like, okay, not a big deal. I can handle it. And then you think you're handling it until finally you're not handling it anymore and you're all the way at your wit's end. And you can't figure out how it is that this actually happened. And so I want to tell you my story. And I want to tell you my story because I, Dr. Jones, okay, was you. At one point in my life, I was the kid in high school who was identifying which colleges I wanted to go to, what my major was going to be, am I taking the right classes in high school, all those different things that you might be struggling with. First job, working at McDonald's, okay, all those different things. And so my story actually starts in Rialto, California. So I'm from Rialto. I'm from the IE. I am proud of my IE upbringing, okay? I am your neighbor from San Bernardino County, but I grew up in Rialto. And Rialto now is starting to kind of make a comeback, okay? But when I was a kid, Rialto was a pretty tough place to live. And so you had to kind of navigate some different things as you grew up in Rialto. You had to figure out some things. And so here I was, this kid, trying to figure out life growing up in Rialto. And while I'm out there, I went to Eisenhower High School. And my Eisenhower High School, we had AP classes and we had all these other different things going on. And I had finally made my transition from being a knucklehead to actually paying attention and doing the right things in school. I kind of started to figure it out. right? I was playing around with gangs and stuff like that, and just, my friends were in gangs, and everybody was just kind of getting into that whole lifestyle and things. We used to, post on people, right, where, you'd stand there and you kind of do like this, right, and you'd be like, hey, what's up, fool, like, And so I stand there and just, and then if somebody looked at you wrong, you kind of look at them and like, what, you want to get it? Like, you can get it today? Right? You guys talk about smoke. We was real about that smoke. We was like, nah, we're going to give you that fire. We pop off on you real quick, right? But I figured out. I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop living like that. So I started applying myself and doing good in school. And I didn't realize that that was harder than the street life that I was trying to, live. Because it required me to put in so much more effort. Where I had a teacher actually come to me. I tried to get out of his class. It was an AP class, and he said, no, take my lower level class first. Lower level? I can't do lower level like I'm trying to go to college now. I'm trying to get out these streets, right? He says, I'll get you ready for it. And all that's going on, and the first time now, I'm in my AP class, and I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm getting everything taken care of, and I'm stressed, y'all. Like when I say I'm stressed, I mean I'm stressed. Now, my mother kept us in church our whole lives, okay? We went to church every day, like every day, okay? My mom used to hide my dickies because she was like, you are not going to be a thug in my house in Jesus' name, and then she's like, I rebuke you, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm sorry, okay? Mom was serious. But we went to church every day, and so I finally said, Mom, I can't go tonight. Like, I need to study. I have this really important thing. I need to be at home. She says, okay, fine, you can be at home. While I was at home, that was the first night that I dealt with suicidal ideation. And it scared me. Y'all, it scared the life out of me. And here I am, struggling with these thoughts, and I don't know what to do. And this is kind of before cell phones, right? So I can't just call and pick up the house phone and then, call on the cell phone. So I said, okay, maybe I should call 911. But then I thought about it. I said, oh, man, I'm going to get in trouble if I call 911. So I don't know what to do. So because we had a faith background, for me, I started praying. Just like, okay, I'm going to pray. That's all I know to do right now. I get past that situation, but I don't tell anybody, I don't talk to anybody about it because of the stigma that goes against people who have those types of thoughts. What's wrong with you? Are you crazy? Like, are you really going to be okay? Or, oh, we need to watch you at all times. And, there was a lot of stigma around it. And so I didn't talk to anybody about it. I didn't go see a counselor. I didn't go see a therapist. I didn't talk to anyone. I just kind of let it go. And then we cut to, all of a sudden, I've graduated from college. I got a bachelor's degree. I graduated from high school, graduated from college. I got a master's degree. And all the while, I've just got stressors that are piling on. Every day, there's just stressors and things like that I'm never, ever dealing with. And then I get to this point in my life where I become this guy. I become Dr. Jason Jones. And I'm going to show you this quick video.
I honestly believe in the fact of we have to have compassion with our work. And so by having that compassion, it leads us to put our hands to the actual work. It's not just about believing in education or believing in creating equitable opportunities for students, but really putting your hands to the work and doing it every day, giving more and more and more every single day to make sure that our students are achieving what it is that they need. So making those footprints and having people follow it, not just because I have a title, but because I'm living what it is that I'm saying, I'm believing it, and I'm working at it. That's probably the greatest accomplishment that I've ever had.
So the first thing I notice about Dr. Jones when I come on campus is that he has positive emotions. And the kids pick up on that. They see him act a certain way and they want to copy him. When he walks down the hallway here, kids want to high-five him. And you don't see that too often. in middle schools.
What separates Jason from the others is he truly sees the potential in every single human being, and he never gives up. He sees his effort as a piece of every person's success.
I'm here because of education. And so when I think about our kids and some of their backgrounds, I think about the fact that education ultimately is going to be the difference maker for them.
The kids look at him as like another father figure, because there's like a lot of people that don't have fathers in their life, and I see that he cares for them, takes time, he checks on them, he sees how their grades are.
I have some students that I even currently work with now where we spend, daily just kind of mentoring them and talking with them about whether it be home issues, things that are going on with their families, parents, things that are happening at school with other students, and really it's just a matter of checking in with them. Sometimes it's a simple high five. Sometimes I'll go out and I'll buy lunch with them. I've even been known to break out the basketball shoes and go out on the court.
Mentioned to me that he was going to be playing basketball with one of the students in the morning. There's a student that he meets with frequently and talks to and has built a strong relationship with. And so he told me he was going to be playing basketball against them, and so I went out there to root for him and see how things were going. And
I'm really embarrassed by it, but the kid absolutely beat me.
Came back, beat him 7-10. And he was a little upset, but I was like, I wasn't rubbing it in his face, but I think I deserved that win.
The thought of breaking those generational barriers, those achievement gap areas, those opportunity gap areas, that's what motivates me. That's what gets me up every morning, is the fact that they can have those opportunities regardless of their background, their community that they come from, how much money they have in their bank account. None of that matters if you put education into the forefront.
What makes Dr. Jones unique is that he cares about the whole person, the whole teacher, and the whole student. There's not one piece that he will not look at them and go, you have greatness in you, here's how we can find it. He is inspirational, and without him, I wouldn't be in the position I am today.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I've always been a high achiever, right? I've always wanted to go for what I thought was greatness in whatever it is that I did. I put in my 100. When supervisor says to put in that work, I was always ready to put in work. Didn't matter what I was doing. I'm always going to give it 100% of my energy. And so these are some pictures. It was actually in the newspaper when I won the Principal of the Year for all of Riverside County. And so you could YouTube me, you could Google me, be like, who is this Dr. Jones guy, right? And then look me up. I'm telling you, it comes up and it's like, oh, that's him. I saw that guy, right? These pictures are from the newspaper and everything. And it was so cool, but I couldn't feel any of it. What they didn't show you in that great, beautiful, well-produced video that has all of these great stage shots of I really do these high fives and all these different things, right? I did play basketball. That kid, Prince, I still hang out. He's actually at Centennial High School. He's a senior this year. He's doing great, okay? He was my height when he was in 7th grade. Yeah, right. When he figured out his fadeaway, I was done. I was like, I don't know how to guard that. I don't know what to do, okay? So all that stuff is true, but what they didn't show you and what they didn't tell you is this. The morning of this situation, I was in the deepest depression of my life. I was in bed, and I had called in and said, I can't make it to work today. And I was just going to use it as I just need a sick day. My room is completely black. My head is under the cup, and I just can't stop crying. I can't stop. I can't move. I can't get up. I'm just stuck. I can't do it anymore. And I get a call from my assistant principal who says, hey, Jason, you good? I say, nah, man, I'm not good. I need to stay home. No, I need you to come in. Bro, I need to stay home. Stop playing. He's like, no, bro, I need you to come in, right? And I'm like, dang, man, what are you talking about? Like, it can't be that serious. He says, you won. I'm like, what are you talking about, I won? Principal of the year, you won. They're going to give you the award today. And so what they do is in Riverside County, the superintendent surprises everyone who are the finalists and the winners, and he goes over and he does it as a surprise visit. So that your whole school plans this whole thing behind your back, and then you show up to all of this where you walk in. All that smile, this right here where it's like, oh, what? I knew. There was no surprise. This is not real right now, right? Okay? Because for me, and all while it's happening and going on, I literally just want to go crawl back in a dark corner and not be around people. Because all the stressors that I was going through, I wasn't dealing with. And shortly after this, I was diagnosed with depression and with anxiety. So today I stand in front of you as someone who has achieved a lot in his life. A kid from Rialto who, was a knucklehead starting out, who now works for Riverside County Office of Education, holds a doctorate, well respected in the community, and also deals with depression. And also deals with anxiety. But I'm treating it, and I'm working with it, and I'm doing the things that I need to do. Because I finally got to a point where I said, I can't keep ignoring this. And some of you are in that place where there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and you want to just keep saying, it'll be fine. As long as I get this next grade, I'm good. I just need to pass this next class, and I'll be fine. Like, it'll be better tomorrow. And all you're doing is you're just ignoring it. And you're storing up whatever it is, and you're just keeping that door open. I kept the door open so long to where finally it said, you know what? Here's depression. Here's anxiety. And now you got to deal with it, and you have to confront it, or else it's going to destroy you. It's going to mess you up. What I didn't factor in were the costs sometimes. We all have to look at the cost of things. You got to figure out how much is it costing you to not pay attention to it. How much is it costing you to just keep pushing? How much is it costing you to say, hustle, hustle. I just got to hustle hard, go hard. No days off, right? 24/7, 365, this is what I do. Right? How much is that costing you, though? Where you can't actually step back and go, wait a sec, I need a minute, hold on. I need to figure out what's going on. I need to take a knee for a second. And so I didn't pay attention to some of these different factors that were happening. I didn't pay attention to my lack of motivation and interest. I didn't pay attention to how I was having trouble focusing. I didn't pay attention to how my health was declining or how my creativity was losing itself, how I was reducing in terms of performance. So what can that look like for you? That lack of motivation sometimes looks like where all of a sudden you're not interested in the things that you used to care about. All of you guys have a baseline. Everybody has a normal way of acting and behaving. And then all of a sudden, though, you change and you're like, that's not really what I'm into anymore. And it starts sometimes with that disinterest in those things that you used to care about. You could also have trouble focusing. You're trying to focus, you're trying to do what you got to do, but you're constantly distracted. Something's always on your mind. You can't seem to get your thoughts in order, okay? There's just so much that's going on. You get sick frequently, though. Stomach aches, headaches. For me, one of the things that started happening, some of you may have this, my eyes start twitching. Anybody have that little eye twitch sometimes? Yeah, I see some of y'all, right? That's a stress sign. Your eyes just moving by itself, and you're like, I didn't tell my eye to do that. Why are you moving? Stop, right? I got to a point where my body started doing that. And at my highest points of stress still to this day, I'll start twitching. And my body starts to do it by itself. It's a psychosomatic symptom that they say. And I'm like, well, can I stop it? We're like, you just got to ride it out. There's not really anything we can do about it. Really, lower your stress levels. Your creativity becomes impacted. What you feel is that what you're producing is not always good enough, okay? You start seeing your academic performance decreasing. Or even for some of you, what happens is you get this hyper focus on everything and it's like, I can do it all. I can do it. I know. And then all of a sudden you're just like super, super, super productive. Because that was me. I was afraid that if I treated my depression and my anxiety, that I was going to lose productivity. Because in my mind, that's what helped me to become successful. So it was like, well, if you slow me down, I don't know what the result of that is going to necessarily be. And so how do we deal with this? How do we extinguish it? This is what I want you to note. The first thing is 3 R's. Everybody say 3 R's. 3 R's. All right. R number 1 is to recognize. I need you to recognize what it is that you are feeling. Okay? I need you to know you. You are the best person to know you. No one else should know you better than you. So recognize what you're feeling. All right. Everybody got a balloon. Yes? Everybody has a balloon? If you got a balloon, hold it up. Let me see. Got a balloon, got a balloon. All right. Here's what I want you to do with that balloon. I want you to recognize how you're feeling. And I want you to blow up the balloon as big or as small as your stressors are today. So like if you're feeling really stressed, you're going to make a big balloon. If you're like kind of stressed, maybe it's a medium-sized balloon. Whoa, that's some stress. Man. She was stressed. Woo! All right, you guys, we are going to connect with her afterward. All right, we're going to get you another balloon. There you go, there you go. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, thank you. That is some stress. All right, don't pop it, though. Don't pop it. Don't pop it. I know some of you were stressed to that point where you want to pop the balloon, but don't pop it. All right, tie it off. Tie it off. Once you're done, go ahead and tie it off. There you go. Blow it up, tie it off. All right. Hold it up for me. Hold up your balloons. Let's take a look. Let's see how we're feeling in here today. All right, this is that moment where we're going to bring it back. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. All right, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Hold them up. Hold them up. All right. Okay. Advisors, teacher leaders, administrators, YAC leaders. I want you to look at these balloons and pay attention because there might be somebody that you want to connect with. Is that all right? Is it all right if they connect with you? Because you don't have to do this alone. All right, cool, cool, cool. So, the first thing that you got to do. All right, go ahead and put the balloons down. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. The first thing you've got to do is recognize, though, what you're feeling. You have to recognize what you're feeling. Again, when you ignore that, it turns into something else. It can develop into disastrous consequences, possibly, if you ignore burnout. So you got to pay attention to it when it's going on. That's the first R. So the first R is to recognize. The second R is to reverse. Everybody say reverse. All right, reverse. When we reverse, so first when we recognize what was happening, now that we know what's going on, we can reverse it. We can change it. We can do something about it. We can choose. We can take control back. We can take action, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get help. We're going to practice mindfulness, or we're going to take a break. Now, here's what I want you to do next, okay? Everybody received some bubbles? Yes, you are never too old to love bubbles. Now, if you got your bubbles, I need you to hold your bubbles up, please. Wonderful, okay? And then if I can, in just a moment, I'm going to have you all stand up and just kind of spread out a little bit. Don't go too far from where you're sitting because you're going to come back to your seats. But you can leave your stuff where you're at. Just take your bubbles with you and kind of stand up and spread out. And then I'll give you instruction from there, okay? Go. Stand up, spread out. Watch out for each other's balloons. Just give each other some space. Get as much space as you might need. We're going to play with bubbles. Sometimes playing with bubbles needs space. Oh, no. It leaked. Oh, there's still a little bit in there. All right, we're good. All right, here we go. Now, the first thing that I want you guys to do, oh, my little horsey. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Yeah. Someone will have the opportunity to win the horsey. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is happening. It's real. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your bubbles out, and I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to let that breath out and get as many bubbles as you can out. Just let all the stress out. That's right. Some of you might need 2 breaths. Take 2 breaths. And just let all of that stress, all that anxiety. The leaders who put this on, you might need some bubbles. You're like, oh, it's here. We did it. Blow it out. Blow it out. Wonderful. All right. Next, here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do next. I want you to blow your bubble, but I want you to try to just follow one bubble. Keep your eyes on just one, okay? Keep your eyes on just one. I got my one bubble that I'm keeping my eyes on. There it is. All right. Sometimes you can only focus on one thing at a time. There's a lot that's going on in your life. There's a lot that you have to pay attention to. But when you're going through that stress moment, sometimes the best thing that you can do is just to focus on one thing. Don't try to focus on all of it. Just try to get that one thing and get that taken care of. For some of you, you might be able to follow 2 bubbles. That's great. But don't force it. Get back to that place where you can change it, where you get some help, because getting help allows you to say, you know what? I can't get all these bubbles by myself. I can't focus on all of them. So will you help me to handle and deal with some of these other things that are going on? And we focus on one thing. All right, last bubble blow. Everybody, let me see. I want this place filled with bubbles. Let me see it. Let me see it. Everybody filled with some bubbles. Woo! All right, my horsey is done. All right, you guys can have your seats. Thank you so much. Let's give it up. Woo! I told you we're going to have some fun. Who knew that high school AP, IB students love playing with bubbles? Your parents are going to ask you, they go, oh, what'd you do today? How was your day today? Oh, Mom, you know what I did? I played with bubbles. I had balloons. You'd be like, what? All right. Our last R. So, remember, our first R, recognize. Everybody say recognize. Recognize. Second R, reverse. All right, our last R is resilience. Okay? The last thing that you have to do is you have to build resilience when you're going through burnout or you're going through those stressors. You've got to build that resilience. You've got to build that ability to stick to it. And so some ways to do that is to show gratitude. You can journal for some of you, socializing, getting out there, talking to other people, things like that. All of those things become important. So here's what I want you to do. I know we gave you instruction to not use your phones today. I'm going to change that for just this one moment, and I want you to take out your phone. Take out your phone. I want you to go through your contacts, and I want you to text someone in your contacts a thank you. Whatever you want to thank them for. Uh-oh, got more stress. I want you to text them a thank you. And it doesn't have to be long. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for always having my back. Thank you for making me laugh when I'm feeling down. What we found, the research says, is that gratitude starts to counteract all of those other things that happen when we're stressed. All that stuff that happens with burnout, what we're doing is when we start showing gratitude and we become thankful for the things that are in our lives, we start to close the door. We start to close the gateway because we're appreciative and we recognize that what's happening in our lives, even though it may not always feel good, we recognize that it's still good. And gratitude allows us to be able to see that. Go ahead and finish off your text. And then once you're done, you can put your phones away. Thank you guys so much. And I just want to talk about recovery from burnout because some of you may already be here in this burnout phase. So if that's you, some things that you can do. One thing that you can do when you feel out of control is just to create routines. Figure out what your routines are and then stick to those routines. Routine helps you to feel like you're in control. Whereas whatever it is that's stressing you, it oftentimes makes you feel like you're out of control. And so the more that you can create a routine, the better you're going to feel about yourself. For some of you, that means, waking up at a certain time every day, maybe having some breakfast, going to exercise, whatever it is, right? But build a routine for yourself. You want to adapt a healthy lifestyle. Stress, a lot of times, makes you not have a healthy lifestyle. You start eating things that you wouldn't normally eat. You start engaging in activities that you shouldn't be engaged in. For some of you, that might mean using substances. So now all of a sudden we've got drugs and alcohol that we're entering into the equation to try to deal with the stress that's only going to make it worse. And so we want to establish a healthy lifestyle. Some of you guys have to do this. Everybody say this with me. Learn to say no. One more time. Learn to say no. Now let me see how well you guys can say no. Everybody on 3, I want you to say no. 1, 2, 3. No. That was pretty good, but I need to feel it. I want to feel it all the way up here. 1, 2, 3. No. Woo, man, somebody meant it. I was somewhere over here. It was now. I love it, okay? You have to learn sometimes to say no. You can't do everything. You can't have all that on your plate. I've got enough going on right now. No, I can't help you with that. And that is tough to say sometimes. But learn it now while you're young so that you don't become that person who gets to my age and you're still having a hard time saying no to people because you don't want to hurt them. You've got to learn to say no. Get your priorities straight. Really look at what's important to you. Some of you are deciding between multiple colleges. That's great, but what's important to you? Identify those priorities. Figure out what's important to you. And then follow that. The trick to this is this, understanding that there is no necessarily like one way to do things. There's a bunch of ways. There's your way that hasn't been invented yet. You get to decide it. So you set those priorities. Be available for yourself. While we played with balloons and with bubbles, you were available for you in that moment. You weren't worried about that test. You weren't worried about the finals. You weren't worried about prom or whatever. Like, what's my dress gonna look like? Do I got the right Jordans? You just were in the moment. So be available for yourself in the moment. Develop better sleeping habits. Some of you staying up way too late. You TikToking too long. You've seen all the videos. I promise you, you're not gonna miss something. And if you do, it'll be there tomorrow. It's trending, so it's gonna show up again, okay? Turn it off, go to sleep. You have to set goals that are reasonable, okay? And then know your limits. Always make sure that you set goals that are reasonable and you know just kind of like, hey, you know what, for right now, this is as much as I can handle in this situation, okay? All right. Thank you guys so very much. You all are awesome. All right, we're going to open it up for questions. Yes, we have a few minutes, so we're going to open it up for questions that you guys might have. Questions, comments, things that you guys are thinking about. And we've got some helpers. Question in the back. There we go. One sec. We're going to bring you a microphone. Yeah, if you raise your hand, then we'll bring you a microphone so that way everyone can hear your question. Go ahead.
So my question is, who was the first person that you went to when you realized that you really needed to get some help?
My wife. So, and actually at the time, she was my fiance. And so I'll never forget, I couldn't stop crying. And I called, and she was like just checking on me. She was at work, and I was just like, and I was an adult. I mean, you know, full-blown adult. And I couldn't stop crying, and I'm like, I can't figure out why this is happening. Like usually I could point to something and go like, okay, I'm crying because this happened or that happened, and I couldn't figure it out. And so that was the moment where it was like, I need to do something about this. But yeah, she was the first person. In the back, I think we got two, yes.
Thank you again for that amazing talk. I wanted to ask you, who connected you with those resources? How did you find out about how to manage your struggles?
Yeah, no, great question. So for me, because of my work that I do and my background in counseling, then I knew where to go for those resources. So I went through my insurance and things like that. For you guys, if you don't know kind of who to go to, possibly, your counselors at your schools have a number of resources that they can help you with and support you with. And again, that 988 number can get you connected to some of those other resources as well. And now I get to be one of your resources also. So you guys can connect with me and just say, hey, Dr. Jones, I heard you at the Youth Summit. Can you help me with blah, blah, blah? And I will get you connected where you need to be. Yeah, absolutely. Here, and then we got some questions in the back.
I was just curious, because you mentioned a little bit of your time in high school and things like that. I was just wondering, what did you major in college, and what did you want to do?
So I started out wanting to do law enforcement, and then, and this is what I mean by it shifts. I wanted to either be law enforcement or I wanted to teach. I just knew I wanted to help people. And so anyway, when I got to college, they said, the advisor that I had, he said, okay, well, let's just do liberal studies. It's broad enough, and then you can kind of figure it out. And so in college, I worked for Colton Police Department for a little while as a police cadet before I could go to the academy. And there was a day where I was there where a couple of officers were getting off on the night shift, and I knew that this wasn't the job that I wanted to do. Just something, they were having a conversation, and it was just like, that's not it. I want to help people before they get to law enforcement. So I switched, and I became an English major in college, where I had another pivot, and this is why I say your majors are going to just change, right? So here I am, I'm an English teacher, and I'm teaching and things like that, and none of my students wanted to do work. Nobody cared about English the way that I did. And so we pivoted that, And I said, well, what's happening, what's going on? And there were all this stuff that was happening in their personal lives that was preventing them from learning. And so that's when I made the pivot and I got my master's in counseling, and then I moved, up that direction. So right now I actually teach part-time with Loma Linda University. So those of you who might be going to Loma Linda, I may see you on campus at times. I teach in their master's program over at Loma Linda. We've got here and also, yeah.
I have a question. After you got help, what activities did you do to prevent yourself from falling into that deep depression again?
Great question. Yeah, I got a bike. So you know how people say like, I love to connect with nature, right? And I was like, what the heck does that mean? Like, are you gonna like skip and like, like, woo, yay, this is fun. And I'm like, I don't want to go in a forest. Like, that's weird. But what I realized was that being outside and being in the sun, those types of things connected with me. So I started doing things like exercise, so riding my bike and things like that. I changed my diet. I'm actually on a medication, so I have a prescription that I follow as well. But other activities were, one of the things that my therapist and I talked about was building a team. And so I have a team of people kind of around me as a support for whatever it is that I need. And so that becomes, one of those activities. And then I have, this church group, these, friends that I have at church and things that, we just love to hang out and, just kind of kick it and have fun and things like that. So those become the, some of those activities. Yes, oh, yep.
So, I went blank. How old were you when you found out that you were diagnosed with anxiety and depression? And what is the first thing that you did to, like, help it in some sense?
I was 39, like 39, 40, somewhere around there. And then what was the second part of your question?
That, what was the first thing you did to help it in the sense?
The first thing that I did to help was to go talk to someone. And so when I went to go talk to the psychiatrist at the time, he posed a question to me where he said, I bet you feel like you have to feel like this. And I was like, well, yeah, like, look at, look. And I mean, like, when I say, like, I live a good life, like, I live a really, really good life. Like, all these accomplishments and things, like, I've won awards, I've been recognized, I travel, the U.S., like, I live a really good life. I make good money, like, all those things, and there's still depression that's happening. And so some people kind of think like, well, how could a person who has all of that be depressed? Like the guy, Twitch, who recently, died by suicide. People, are always kind of looking at it like, how? He's got everything. He's on Ellen. He's a great dancer. He does these awesome TikToks. Like, he has a happy life. And people don't understand sometimes what that means and what that looks like. And so for me, the first step was to talk to someone and get the help, and then allow them to use their education, training, experience, and things to assist me with what it was that I was going through. And so I don't try to do it, because I've oftentimes felt like I had to do it all by myself. I have to do it all on my own. And that's what I want to encourage you guys with, is that you do not have to do it by yourself. You do not have to do it alone. All right. Okay. I think we've got it in the back somewhere, yeah. The light's in my face, but go ahead.
When dealing with burnout symptoms, what's one way to acknowledge your accomplishments? Because I feel like it's really hard to acknowledge things you receive sometimes with just the symptoms that you have and something that you're dealing with.
Yeah, one way is what we kind of did. So the exercises that we did is, those are called mindfulness exercises. And sometimes people make mindfulness sound really mysterious and hard. And so as best as you can when you're getting that accomplishment, be in the moment. And just be in the moment where you're understanding, like, what does it feel like to be in the seat that you're in right now? What does it feel like when you have to, if you're going up on a stage and now you're, and like feel what it feels like to go on the stage. Feel what it feels like to get the award and to have it. When people are saying congratulations, like, be open and receive that. Sometimes, you'll deal with things where it's like, no, please don't pay attention to me. And it's just like, no, no, no. This is your moment for people to pay attention to you. So as best as you can, be present in that moment is probably the best thing that you can do for yourself. And everybody in here is ambitious, and so you're gonna probably have more goals that you achieve, that you want to achieve. Like literally that. So I got this crystal apple for that Principal of the Year award. It's in a box somewhere, and not because like I don't care about it or anything like that, but it's just one of those things where the impact that I made for the people was more important than the actual physical item and things. And so, but as best as you possibly can, connect and be present in that moment. All right, I think that's my time. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Oh, sorry. One last thing. Somebody tell me, what are the 3 R's? Okay, yep, I saw your hand first. Go ahead. Recognize. Uh-huh. Recognize. And here you go. You got a bubble gun. You get my horse.
The 3 R's, recognize, reverse, and resilience. Thank you, Dr. Jones, for that inspiring and motivating presentation. Let's give it up for him.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that guidance through this pressure we have likely all been experiencing. We will now be having a short break, and please feel free to visit some exhibitors, use the restroom, or grab some water. Our next presenter starts at 11:15, so please be back at 11:10. Yeah. Back, everyone. So everyone settle in. Our next presentation for today will be on the topic of sexual assault prevention. Our speaker, Ashley Bautista, works for Partners Against Violence. You might have seen their booth outside, which is a nonprofit organization that provides free services to survivors of sexual assault and their loved ones. As a community outreach specialist, Ashley's job entails providing the Eastern Riverside County area with prevention education to help promote healthy relationships, families, and communities. She works closely with youth and helps empower them by encouraging healthy relationships and promoting peer advocacy. We know this is a sensitive topic, so if at any point anyone feels uncomfortable or you would like to speak to a youth advocate that is a professional, please exit the room and a counselor will meet you. We have a private space in the building if anyone would like support from our partner organization. Now please, help me welcome to the stage, Ashley Bautista.
I actually have a little, yeah, thank you. Ready? Hi, everyone. Hi. How's everyone doing today? Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Again, my name is Ashley Bautista, and I work with Partners Against Violence. So today we'll be presenting, let me make a clicker. So again, I do want to give a quick disclaimer again. So please be advised that the presentation does have sensitive content regarding sexual assault and also unhealthy relationships. Just to let you know, again, we do have crisis counselors here to provide that support for you. If you feel like it's a little bit too much for you and you need that extra support, know that we're here during and also afterwards as well. I do want to let you know who the people would be. So if I could have my crisis counselors stand up, please. So as you can see over there in the room, those will be the crisis counselors today. A little round of applause. Yeah, perfect. And those will be, again, they will be the ones that will help you. It'll be in the upstairs is where they'll have the support services for you. To start off, April, so the next month, is actually Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And so with that month, we come and we educate on awareness and let you know that, again, this is the day where or the month that we stand with survivors, we show them our support. And so on April 4th, there's a day called Teal Day. So Teal Day is a day where we wear teal in recognition of survivors. So if you want to show your support, you can send us your picture with your teal. I do see some teal shirts here today. So wear your teal shirts, post it on Instagram, and you can tag us at Partners Against Violence. So that's a way that we can show that support. I do have the rest of my team here with me today too, so they're all in the back as well. So just to let you know, we're all here. And then this is some of my coworkers. We do have different offices. So we have offices here in Coachella Valley, Morongo Basin, and San Bernardino County. So these are some of my coworkers as well. We're wearing our teal and representing. Today I'll also be talking to you about Denim Day, and then we'll kind of go into that too, and then I'll have an activity for you guys afterwards. So to start off, I do want to go over body safety rules. These are some rules to always uphold for yourself to ensure that you're engaging in comfortable situations and having healthy conversations. So this is something that, again, that you would read essentially. So you would say, my private parts are parts of my body covered by bathing suits and should not be seen, should not be touched or talked about by anyone else except for myself. And if someone asks to have you either touch, see, or talk to them about their own private parts or your own, either in person or also virtually, make sure that you tell a trusted adult, because that's something that, again, we want to make sure that you're engaging in healthy conversations and not being put in these situations where people are wanting to take advantage, right? And you can say no to anyone if they ever make you feel uncomfortable. An example that I always give is a lot of the times we grow up, especially me, being Hispanic, I grew up with the idea that if I don't go hug my uncle or my aunt that I've never seen in my life, that it's a bad thing or I'm being disrespectful. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you reach your body autonomy. You have a right over your own body, right? So if you don't feel comfortable hugging that person that you've never met before, you can do a high five, fist bump, whatever it is. Again, we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with your interactions. So I would like you all to say is, my body is my body. Can you say, my body is my body? Perfect. I know it seems a little silly because you guys are older, but again, it's really important to kind of start practicing those things, especially as we get older too. One thing too is that if you feel unsafe or you feel frightened by someone, again, in person or virtually, you should tell a trusted adult. And if an adult ever asks you to keep your relationship with them a secret, that's a huge red flag, because an adult shouldn't be asking you, like, hey, like, don't tell anybody that we're talking, because again, that's something that can, again, let you know that that relationship shouldn't be happening in the first place. Any questions on my body safety rules so far? No? Okay. Oh, someone has a question? Yeah? So the way that virtually looks like is if, let's just say someone adds you on Instagram and you're like, yeah, I want more followers or whatever it is, and they DM you or whatever, and they're like, hey, you're so beautiful. Can you send me a picture of yourself in a bikini? Can you send me a picture of yourself, again, naked or whatever it is? That's the way that they're able to, they're crossing that boundary. And then we'll kind of explain what that looks like as far as child sexual abuse. But that's kind of how it would happen virtually. And it can also be with your own peers, just to let you guys know, once those pictures are out there, it can be easily dispersed. And with that, a lot of the times we see something called sextortion, where someone will then, let's just say a couple is dating, they've been together for 2 years, they're fully in love, and they're like, I'm going to send you a picture. So then they think that, again, you are in love with this person, you think they're not going to share it, but it happens many times. It happened when I was in high school too, where now they break up, and then there's this thing called revenge porn, right? Where now the significant other decides to send it out to the whole school, and now this person is in a situation where now, again, they're exposed, right? Another thing too is legally that would, you would be distributing child pornography because you guys are all under the age of 18. You shouldn't be having these pictures out. And so that's kind of how that would happen virtually. So again, it's important that you guys don't take pictures of yourselves that, again, you wouldn't post, with your family page or whatever it is. Make sure that you keep those things to yourselves. Any other questions? No? Okay. One thing to note too is maybe there's a person who, logically, this is a person that's supposed to protect you, a person that's supposed to be in a role that they're supposed to aid guidance or whatever it is. But if every time you're around them, you feel these physical signs of discomfort, then it's your body telling you that this person may be bad news. So some physical signs of discomfort would be like maybe your heart beats super fast when you're around them. Maybe you get sweaty hands, you get goosebumps. Maybe your stomach hurts every time you're around them. Or maybe you feel shaky, wobbly, maybe you have cold hands. or you feel like crying, or every time you're around them, the hairs at the back of your neck stand up, or you have a headache instantly, again, this is your body telling you that this may not be a safe person to be around, or this is a person that you should really kind of only be around when you have other people with you. So it's important that, again, you listen to your body, because your body may be telling you those signs without you actually, knowing that's what's happening. So trust your gut. That's like the best advice that I can give you. Another thing too is having a safety network. It's always important to keep in mind who you would go to if something were to actually happen. I think a lot of the times when people are in these situations, right, especially if we're talking about sexual assault, you don't know where to go to, because again, you may feel like, I'm not going to be believed. People are not going to aid that support. So it's important to now start thinking about who would be that trusted adult that you would go to. So in your binders, there's actually a paper on there. I won't ask you to do it right now, but in that paper, it's gonna ask you to identify 3 to 5 trusted adults. Maybe you can't think of some right now, but definitely think about it and try to figure out at least 3 that you would identify. One thing to note too is that this trusted adult, they may change over time, because obviously you're going to have new teachers, you're going to be in a different environment, maybe you go off to college, whatever it is. They're going to keep changing over time, but always make sure that they make you feel safe. They never make you feel those uncomfortable signs of discomfort. So always make sure that they make you feel safe at all times. Does someone want to share a trusted adult that they would identify as being someone who they would go to? Yeah? Your mom, perfect. Anybody else? Who would be your trusted adult? Yeah? Your teacher? Perfect, yay. We have a trusted adult here today. Perfect. Anybody else? Yeah? Your dad? Perfect. Yeah, in the back? Did you say your parents? Someone else's parent. Oh, someone else's parent. Perfect. Hey, I like the energy. Alrighty, so again, keep some of these things in mind as you move on through the day and figure out who would be in your safety network. Alrighty, next part. So this part again is the part where it can be a little bit sensitive. I just want to give you a definition of what child sexual abuse would entail. So child sexual abuse is a form of child abuse that includes sexual activity with a minor, so anyone under the age of 18, which does not need to include physical contact between a perpetrator and a child. A lot of the times people think, well, the person never touched me, so it can be considered child sexual abuse. One thing to know is that, again, if an adult exposes themselves to you, whether that be in person or them sending you a picture, that's considered child sexual abuse, because they shouldn't be exposing themselves to you. If they're initiating an inappropriate conversation with you, that's also considered child sexual abuse too. So there doesn't necessarily have to be that physical contact in place, just as long as they are, again, engaging in these unhealthy or inappropriate conversations with you or sharing pictures. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually assaulted before they reach the age of 18. So as you can see, these are very high statistics, and so it's important that you spread this education to other peers, because again, maybe this is not education or information for you personally, but it can be information that you can use for your friends or for your cousins or for maybe your younger siblings too. Those are some things to kind of, again, keep in mind, because we want to make sure that these statistics are not as high. So again, this is what child sexual abuse is. Now, child sexual exploitation. So this is a form, again, of sexual abuse where offenders use their power. So whether this be physical, financial, or emotional power over a child or a young person to sexually or emotionally exploit them or abuse them. So child sexual exploitation can occur in person or also online. And the predator can be anyone. Sometimes a child or younger person may not even realize that they are a victim. And so in order to let you guys know what that would look like, right, we're going to go into grooming. So grooming is basically the process that a predator uses to gain access to a child and to, again, sexually exploit them or sexually abuse them. So we're gonna be going over all of the 5 stages. The first stage, a predator will target a child. And this again can be either in person or online. And what we've noticed and what we've seen is that a lot of the times, a lot of that initiation actually happens online. And so a lot of the times, they may either express to be themselves, or they may quote unquote catfish you and say that there's somebody else. They may use someone else's pictures. I feel like within the past week or so, I've had several of my friends post that someone created an account using their pictures. So again, so people were following that account thinking this is a new Instagram account. So that's why it's important that you don't follow accounts that seem to be your friend. You should always contact them and make sure that they are your friend and that it's that person that you're talking to. They also use platforms like Snapchat and TikTok, as well as, again, Instagram. Those are the ones that are most commonly used. And predators exploit a child's perceived vulnerabilities, including emotional neediness, neglect, chaotic life, or a lack of parental oversight. So if you're posting on social media how you just got into a fight with your parents and how, oh my God, the world is so awful and this and this, and again, you're constantly putting that out there. And if a person, again, is wanting to do this to you, they're going to look at that as a perceived vulnerability, and they're going to see that as a chance for them to, again, swoop in and be that cool adult, right? That person who's going to go and tell you, hey, I can buy you alcohol. Hey, I can do this for you. Again, this is what they're looking for. In stage 2, perpetrators work to gain the trust of a parent or caregiver. So the parents are actually groomed within the process as well. And this is to lower suspicion and gain access to the child by providing seemingly warm yet calculated attention and support to the child. So the perpetrator gains the child's trust by gathering information, right, about the child, getting to know their needs, and finding ways that they can fulfill these needs. So let's just say, for example, your mom is a single mom, and she's posting about how, again, she's a single mom, and she's done it all by herself, and she's, this strong woman who's done this, and this person comes in, they see that, again, this could be a potential vulnerability. They can kind of swoop in and be like, hey, I know that you work X amount of jobs. I can take care of your child. I can be the one to babysit or whatever it is. I can help out. Again, they are the ones that are kind of aiding that support. So it's important that you kind of look at these different signs and kind of, in a way, connect the dots. In stage 3, the perpetrator utilizes tactics such as gift giving, increased attention or affection, and meeting other basic needs. The perpetrator uses isolation tactics to reinforce their relationship. The perpetrator may reinforce the relationship with the child by cultivating a sense of love and care and understanding that no other parent can give. So, for example, they may say, "Oh, it's just, your parent just doesn't understand, but I do. I can do that. It's okay. I can, whether that be maybe you can't talk to your parent about a relationship that you're with, and now this person's really interested in your relationship and what you do with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and they're like, no, you can have this conversation with me because I'm a cool parent, or I'm a cool adult, or I'm a trusted person. Again, you shouldn't be having that conversation with an adult. And if an adult is initiating this conversation with you, again, that's a big red flag to really consider. And so that's kind of how they start, right? They appear to be very understanding, and they may do extra things, again, to make you feel like, again, this is a person who you can trust, whether that be buying you alcohol, or lying about where you're at, or giving you extra money to go somewhere you weren't supposed to go, or whatever it is. And in stage 4, so once that emotional dependence is there and the trust has been built, the perpetrator progressively sexualizes the relationship. Again, this can look like, again, if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, So what do you guys do? Have you guys, done it or whatever it is? Oh, so what happened during it? Or they ask you for those details. Have you ever sent a picture to somebody? Oh, can I see the picture? Can I do this? So again, they are starting to sexualize the relationship. And this can also occur through, again, talking, pictures, creating situations in which both are naked. So they'll be like, hey, do you want to go to the beach with me? Like, yeah, I can go buy you a bathing suit. Or, hey, do you want to go swimming? I actually have a pool. You can come over. And the adult exploits the child's natural curiosity and trust using stimulation to advance the sexual nature of the relationship. Again, they will create scenarios where now you are maybe in a bathing suit or in those scenarios for them to engage in that relationship. And then stage 5. So the perpetrator commonly uses secrecy, blame, and threatens to maintain the child's participation in continued silence. The child may feel that the loss of the relationship or the consequences of exposing it will be more damaging and humiliating than continuing the unhealthy relationship. One thing to note is that the majority of the time, a higher statistic is that the person will be perpetrated on by someone who is close to the family, whether it be a close friend, whether it be an uncle or an aunt, or it can be someone that's within the close family circle. So a lot of the times, if you were to expose, let's just say it was your uncle who did it, right? If you were to expose this, you think, oh, like, this is going to cause a lot of damage within my family. I'm going to be the one to break up the family or whatever it is. At the end of the day, your safety is what matters the most. And perpetrators are huge manipulators. They will make you feel guilty for exposing the relationship, right? So it's important that if you are ever in a situation or you know someone who is, to always reach out for support, know that we're here and we're available to help guide you through that whole process. Another thing to note is that it's important that you know that these are common tactics that are used by perpetrators. Doesn't mean that it's always going to look exactly like this, but this is kind of how that process would usually go, right? But again, those are the 5 stages of grooming to really consider. Maybe you have had a relationship with somebody who maybe started exposing some of these things, especially when it comes to stage 5. Those are some signs to really consider. So some safety tips. Always make sure that you use the buddy system. So whether you're going to go to the movies with your friends, always make sure that you always have your friend with you. Even if you go to the restroom, even if you go and you forgot some napkins, always make sure that you're never alone and that you have your friend with you. Don't talk to strangers. I know that every time, people tell you stranger danger or whatever it is, just make sure that, again, especially online, if you're talking to someone who you don't know and you're like, hey, let's meet up. I want to meet you because now I've developed this relationship with you for so many months. Again, don't do it, even though sometimes I know, my cousin, for instance, she met her husband on Twitter and they're happily married. But at the end of the day, just because she had a love story doesn't mean that you're going to. And there's a lot of dangers to it, and there's been a lot of times where, again, people meet up and people sometimes end up dead or on the news. So it's important that, again, you guys are not engaged in these relationships. Don't add strangers on social media. I know everyone wants to become TikTok famous. They're like, they want to add as many people as they can. So it's important that, again, you don't add people because you want to have a bigger followers list. Trust your intuition, so trust your gut. Another thing too is keep personal life struggles private to the eyes. So don't be posting on social media how awful you feel about how your mom made you feel, whatever it is. Don't be posting on social media because, again, those are perceived vulnerabilities. Speak to a trusted adult if someone makes you feel uncomfortable. So again, keep some of those things in mind. Who would be a trusted adult who you would go to? Some things to say. So if someone that you know has been sexually assaulted, or someone comes to you with this information, one thing to do is to never victim blame. A lot of the times people, when they disclose to their friends or their loved ones, they may feel like they're not being supported because they'll be like, oh, well, what were you wearing? Were you drinking? Why did you meet up with this person? Why would you do this? Why would you do that? Instead of doing that, you can provide that support to them by saying some of these things. So this is what advocates, so that be me and my coworkers, these are some of the things that we tell survivors. So you're stronger you are stronger than you think. What happened to you doesn't define you. You are enough and you are beautiful. Or, I'm here for you. Know that I hear you and I believe you. Or, know that you're loved, cared for, prayed for, and thought of every day. Your resilience and bravery is something I admire, and I am blessed to stand with you. Again, these are not some things you're just going to pull out your phone and be like, this is what I should say. Again, this can come natural. Just make sure that you're not coming with them asking all these questions. I actually got a call a few weeks ago where a mom was telling me, like, well, should I ask her, why was she there? Should I ask her what was she wearing? Should I ask her these things? And I was like, no, what she needs right now is her mom. She needs someone who is going to provide that support for her. All of those questions, leave that for, law enforcement to ask. Be there to support her, be her mom, because that's like the most important thing. And this next one is survivors actually shared what they wish that they would have heard when they disclosed to their loved ones. And I'm actually friends with all these people. So they said, I honestly wish my mom would have just said, I believe you, it's going to be okay. Another person said, don't feel embarrassed about it, you are not alone. It's not your fault. I felt a lot of embarrassment and self-guilt when it happened. And the last one was, I wish someone would have told me that there's more to life. This is going to pass. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not alone. What happened to you doesn't define you. Don't give up on life. And so this last one, she had told me that she actually contemplated suicide because of it, because she thought that it was never gonna, end. And so this is, again, now these people are, in healthy relationships, they're good, they've already entered their healing journey, but this is something that they wish they would have heard when they were younger, because they were all your guys' age when it happened. So it's important that, again, these are some ways that you can provide that support. At the end of the day, they don't need you asking them all of these questions about their decision that led to that. What they need is a friend. What they need is that support. And so now Denim Day. Denim Day is a day that's recognized for survivors. So Denim Day story begins in Italy in 1992 when an 18-year-old girl was raped by a 45-year-old driving instructor who was taking her first driver's test. He took her to an isolated road, pulled her out of the car, and removed her jeans forcefully and raped her. She reports the rape and the perpetrator is arrested and prosecuted. He is then convicted of rape and sentenced to jail. Years later, he appealed the conviction, claiming that the sex was consensual. The Italian Supreme Court overturned the conviction and the perpetrator was released. A statement by the court argued that because the victim was wearing very tight jeans, she had to help him remove them, and by removing the jeans, it was considered not rape but consensual sex. This became known throughout Italy as the jeans alibi. Enraged by the verdict, the women in the Italian parliament launched a protest wearing jeans on the steps of the Supreme Court. From there, Denim Day was born. So again, this is in honor of that survivor who, again, was not believed, and the court believed that because her jeans were so tight that she must have she must have helped him take them off. So again, in our booth outside, we actually have some jeans there with some markers. So we would actually like you to write supportive messages that you would like to give to survivors. So what's a message that you would want survivors to know, right? And again, those jeans will be outside for you to do that. So that's an activity that you can do after this presentation. And Denim Day is actually April 26th. Who here, raise of hands, owns denim, whether that be jeans or a denim jacket? Awesome, so you guys can all do it. So you guys can all send in your pictures. So you guys already told me that you guys all have denim, so go ahead and, if you want to, you guys have full authority over what you want to do. But if you want to show your support, send us a picture of you wearing your jeans, wearing your denim on April 26th and tag us. And then that way, again, we can show survivors, especially people your age, because again, this happens, a lot of the times happens within your age group. Show people your age group that you're there to support them and that they have people who are there that are going to back them up. Some statistics on unhealthy relationships. So now we're going to move into unhealthy relationships because I heard that this is something that you guys are also interested in. So 1 in 3 adolescents in the United States is a victim of dating abuse. 1 in 3, that's a huge statistic. And children as young as 12 years old have reported being in an abusive relationship. So everyone here is under 12. Let's just say you guys all have younger siblings or cousins. Maybe you're engaging in healthy relationships, but again, this can be information for your younger siblings or cousins. And toxic friendships are all too common. 84% of females and 75% of males reported having a toxic friend at one point. So this again, maybe you're not dating, but maybe you have a friend who's extra, or just extra, you know? They're toxic, they're extra, they're always constantly like, where are you? Why are you with that person? You're my best friend and only my best friend. Again, that's a little possessive. So it's important that you guys are engaged in healthy relationships. And one thing to know too is that 1.5 million teens, hi everyone, okay, 1.5 million teens experience dating abuse of some form each year. Only 33% of those 1.5 million teens ask for help. Why do you guys think that only 33% ask for help? Yeah? Maybe they don't know who to ask or who to go to. In the back? Yeah, most definitely. A lot of the times they think that they're going to false report, right? But yeah, that's a huge reason why. Yeah, maybe they don't know the signs of abuse. Maybe they don't know that their relationship is unhealthy. A lot of the times, people, the way that their home is, right? Maybe this is behavior that was learned by their parents. This is how their parents interact, so they think, well, this is normal. Sorry, my throat's... Anybody else? That's a good one. So maybe they think that the abuse will go away. Sorry, okay. But yeah, again, these are some statistics on that. So one thing to know too is that this is what makes a relationship healthy, what makes it unhealthy, and then what makes it abusive. Sorry, I need some more water. So go ahead and read some of these signs while I take a little water. And then I want you to let me know what surprised you on here. Oh. Alrighty. All right, let's go ahead and bring it back. Let's bring it back. Have you guys ever done a little silent coyote? A little thing, yeah, a little silent coyote, yeah, okay. You matter how? Silent coyote, yeah. Alrighty. Okay, what's something that surprised you that was on here? Yeah? Perfect. So spending time, only spending time together. So this one I actually get a lot when I go to the high schools. They're like, why is that bad? Like, it's a good sign that your boyfriend or girlfriend wants to be with you constantly. So the reason why it's a bad sign is because even though, again, you're super in love with this person, and you want to be around them all the time, at the end of the day, you need your own life. You need to make sure that you are having your own time for yourself and not forgetting about your own hobbies. Maybe you lost all of your friends because now you're with this person constantly. It's important that, again, you have your own life. If you want to go out with your friends to the movies, you can. If you want to hang out with your family and have a movie night just with them, you can too. So it's important that, again, you are not forgetting those relationships that you had before the relationship, and that you are, again, how much time do I have? 3 minutes? Okay, perfect. Okay, just making sure. So again, I just want to make sure that, again, you guys are not only just spending time with each other, but are also still continuing those relationships that you had before that relationship. One thing to note is that, let's just say you identify as having an unhealthy relationship, and you guys actually have a quiz. Don't pull it out yet, because then it causes ruffling. But you actually have a quiz with you that you can take after this presentation, which will help you determine whether or not you have a healthy relationship. So let's just say you identify as having an unhealthy relationship, and know that you can start implementing healthy traits to make it healthy again. But if you identify as having an abusive relationship, and again, your partner's communicating with you in a hurtful or threatening way, they're mistreating you, accusing you of cheating even though it's untrue, and they're like, hey, I need your passwords for all your social medias, I have to make sure no one's DMing you, they're reading your text messages, and are constantly, again, making sure that you share your location with them because they need to know where you're at all times, and constantly accusing you of cheating on them, like, I gotta walk you to class every single period because I know some guy's gonna try to talk to you, or I know some girl's gonna try to talk to you. And they say things like, oh, it's because I know how girls think, or I know how guys think, so that's the reason why I'm like that. Big red flag, even though I know sometimes maybe you use those words. Again, from here and on forward, I hope you guys engage in healthy relationships. But another thing too is denying their actions as abusive, constantly saying, no, like, you're the reason why I got so mad, you're the problem. Or saying, the only reason why I yelled was because you made me mad, you're the reason why this. Again, denying their actions as abusive, being very controlling, and this could be what you're wearing, how you talk, what you eat, how you look. A lot of the times, actually in high school, I tell this when I go to the high schools. So there was this couple who I went to school with, and I had them for first period, and it was a cheerleader and a baseball player. And so they were together, they were on and off, they were a very toxic couple. But anyways, one day she came in with like 3 sandwiches, a big old venti Starbucks cup, and was like, here you go, I made you breakfast again. And so this was like an occurrence that happened all the time. And so I remember one time her saying, oh, I just want to fatten you up so no one else can want you. And I could be the only one. And so he did get chubby, but he did get a little chubby, but people still found him attractive. But but that was literally her goal. Like, she would make him like 3 sandwiches for lunch, would make him that for breakfast, would cook extra things. And he was like, oh my gosh, she loves me so much because she's taking care of me. Like, she's making sure I'm well nourished. Like, no, boy, like, that's not what it is. But again, that's a sign of it being abusive. Again, it depends on what their goal is, right? If that's her goal. And one thing to know, I kind of stalked them on Instagram to see if they were still together, and they are. They're married, and they have a baby, so, but anyway, yeah, pretty much, yeah. But again, now, hopefully their baby engages in healthy relationships, with maybe they'll have another me in the future who will help them not have a boyfriend or girlfriend who feeds them extra. But again, they can be very controlling. They're like, I don't like what you're wearing, like, go change. Or I don't like what you posted, like, you look really ugly in that picture. like I need you to take it down. Again, those are some controlling things to keep in mind. And the last one is isolating their partner from their loved one. One thing to note is a lot of the times, I keep saying that, one thing to note, but a lot of the times, especially when you're in high school, you have like that high school sweetheart, there's that conversation of, hey, after high school, run away with me, like, let's start this life together. There's this, like, they paint this fairy tale of, like, you don't have to work, I can provide for us, I can show you what a quote-unquote real man is, or whatever it is, and they paint this fairy tale of how beautiful your life is gonna be, but as soon as you're out that door, now you've cut relationships with your parents because maybe they didn't want you to leave, maybe you left all of a sudden, now you're stuck with this person. You don't have a job because, again, this person's going to provide for you. They say, hey, you don't need to take your driver's license. I can drive you. I can be the one to do this. Now you don't have your driver's license. You don't know how to drive. You don't have a car. You don't have a job. You're in a different place away from your family and friends. And then that leaves you extremely vulnerable. So a lot of the times, again, when you're in these situations, this is where the domestic violence happens. And people cannot get out of it because, again, they're so reliant on this person that now they feel like they're trapped. So that's why it's important that you guys don't allow your partner to take you away from your friends and your loved ones and your families, because that's when you can be the most vulnerable, because now you're no longer friends with the friends you used to have. You have a really rocky relationship with your parents because, again, they are the ones that are putting these ideas in your head that they are bad people or whatever it is. And so if you identify as having an abusive relationship, know that there's no way for it to going back to being healthy because the abuse already happened. And if you do identify as having an abusive relationship, again, we have crisis counselors here. Reach out to them. We can be here to support you. And one thing, too, as I mentioned in the statistics, 1.5 million teens experience dating abuse. You're not alone. You're not the only one. And there's people here to support you. There's other people who need that guidance, too. I know I'm like pretty sure, but one thing to always keep in mind is setting boundaries. So boundaries are the limits and the rules that we set for ourselves. Basically, what's okay and not okay with you. Boundaries are in place to protect you and keep you from uncomfortable situations. Some examples of those is I'm cool with following each other on social media, but not with sharing passwords. I'm comfortable kissing, but I don't want to be that weird couple making out in the back all the time, you know? Maybe it's like, I just want to hold hands in public, that's it, I'm cool with that. Or I'm okay with regular texting, but I want to be texting you multiple times in an hour. You know, you're blowing up my phone, type of thing. Or I want to spend time with my family and friends every Saturday. You can always have that, or every Friday nights. Or I'm not okay with you asking me to cheat on a test or skip class with you. Again, this might be uncomfortable for you because maybe it's like your best friend. She's like, hey, give me the answers to the test. And you're like, I don't want to be a bad friend. At the end of the day, the bad friend is that friend asking you for you to cheat, because then what happens if you get caught? Now maybe your college acceptance is like revoked, because that's happened. And when I was in high school, a kid decided to cheat on a test and like ended up getting their college acceptance revoked because then now they failed the class. So it's important that, again, you are not allowing your friends to manipulate you into cheating on your tests or whatever it is. Again, don't want those toxic friendships. We're part of a team called the SART teams. This is a sexual assault response team. So we help with all of these entities. So law enforcement. So if, let's just say you are a survivor of sexual assaults, you would go to law enforcement and report that there was a sexual assault that happened. We can go with you to that. You don't have to do the report by yourself. Because you guys are all underage, most likely you would go to a center called Barbara Sinatra's Children's Center, which is where that would all kind of take place. But essentially, you would have to make that report with law enforcement first. But you would report to law enforcement. Law enforcement's main job is just to gather as much information as they can to build that case. From there, you would go to the hospital, which is where you'll be seen by a forensic nurse, or again, you'd go to Barbara Sinatra's Children's Center. The forensic nurse's job is to basically collect all of the DNA evidence on your body. They'll take images of any bruises, and then we will be there during that exam, sitting aside next to you. Honestly, a lot of the exams that I've done, it's always like the majority of them have been with younger people, which makes me feel comfortable because I feel like I feel more comfortable with younger people. But yeah, so those are the forensic nurses. And then once all of that evidence is gathered between both law enforcement and the forensic nurses, and then it'll be sent to the prosecutors, which is basically the DA's office, where they determine whether or not there's sufficient evidence to bring up a case. And then from there, we can sit with you during the court dates, during any of those legal appointments. We could be there with you throughout the whole process. At times, it can be like 2 to 3 years, and we're there with you the whole time. And the last one again is us. We're the victim advocates. We're here to support you. We're here with you every step of the way to provide and aid that guidance. We offer the accompaniment. Again, we go with you to all 3 of those. We can provide advocacy. Maybe you need extra resources. You need to be connected to those. We can help you connect you to those. Maybe law enforcement's being a little too rough, and we go in there. We're like, hey, my survivor needs a break. We're there advocating for your needs. We provide counseling services. Today we have that available to you as well as far as crisis counseling goes. We do have a 24-hour crisis hotline number as well, which you can call at any time if you feel like you are a survivor or you feel like maybe you are experiencing some form of domestic violence or whatever it is. Know that you can give us a call. We can either help you provide those counseling services or we can help connect you to the services that you need. We're located in La Quinta, but we also have those other offices in San Bernardino County and also up in Morongo Basin. We offer education, which is what I'm here doing today, is providing that education to hopefully prevent future victimization. All of our services are completely free and they're confidential. So again, if you disclose to us using our hotline, then it's confidential, but I believe if we're in a school setting, and that's when it's not considered confidential. But again, we have a website called partnersagainstviolence.org if you guys want to check us out. Don't forget to tag us if you decide to join us for Denim Day, because all of you guys have denim, so you guys can join us for Denim Day. So make sure to tag us on Instagram. We'll share and we'll build the community that we can be. You guys have an amazing program in place, and I see you all as being future leaders and future peer advocates. So thank you so much for your time. And again, join us to do the Denim Day for the jeans. Go ahead and write your messages. Oh, yeah. Oh, do they still have time? We have about 5 minutes if you want. If you want, we can wrap it up now too. Okay, yeah, I can ask some questions. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Hi guys, I got a little excited for you guys to have lunch. I know you guys are hungry. But do you have any questions? I'm so sorry. Yeah. Do you guys have a microphone to go around? Yeah,
If you think one of your friends might be experiencing something like this, how would you breach that topic with them?
Ooh, okay, so if you feel like your friend might be wait, which one? Sexual assault or an abusive relationship?
Like an abusive relationship.
Okay, so how to intervene when your friend is in an abusive relationship. A lot of the times they're like, dude, leave that dude. Like, why are you with him? Like, he's this, he's that. Or vice versa, like, your girlfriend's so toxic. Why are you with her? That is not how you would have that conversation. Instead, be like, hey, can I talk to you again? In a private area, initiate that conversation. Let them know, hey, these are some of the things that I noticed, and I don't think that you should be talked to that way, or I don't think that someone should be treating you that way. This is not to judge you. I understand that you love this person, but at the end, I want to make sure that you're happy and that you are in a healthy relationship. So you can start that conversation again by letting them know, hey, can we talk for a little bit? Can you meet me at so-and-so place? Can you meet me at my house, for instance, right? I want to talk to you about something that I noticed, and I just want to make sure that that you're okay. Again, you're showing that support. Don't come in with your boyfriend or girlfriend is this and this and this. It's more of like, hey, this is what I noticed. Is everything okay? Or how do you feel? Know that I'm here to support you. Be that shoulder that they can cry on for you. But does that answer your question? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
That's okay. Have you ever been in an abusive relationship? And if you have, what are the red flags that you were able to identify?
So I've never been in an abusive relationship. I've only been with my husband. So but one thing that I can say is my best friend in high school was in an abusive relationship. And so what did that look like? So the way that looked like was her boyfriend actually would tell her like you should only hang out with me. Like I should be the only person that you should be hanging out with. If she had a guy friend, he would get so mad at her and like tell her like, hey, why are you talking to other guys? You're my girlfriend. You shouldn't be having other guy friends. But even though like my friend was one of those girls who like would hang out, like she's just a guy, like she was more friends with guys than she was with girls because that's just who she felt comfortable with because she grew up with just all boys. She just had brothers. And so that was her comfort. But he like intervened with that and was like, no, you can't talk to this person. And he made her feel like she wasn't pretty enough. So she had to, like, she started losing a lot of weight. She started cutting back. She felt like she had to wear so much makeup too. I feel like at one point she became really skinny because of it. She actually got married when because she went off to the army. She got married when she was 18. Yeah, she was 18 when she got married. This dude was like 26 years old. Like he was a lot older than her. And he was very abusive towards her. She ended up he actually was physically abusive towards her. She has a baby with him. But now finally she was able to leave him. But it took 3 times of her calling law enforcement on him. And her finally figuring out that she needed better for her to leave. But a lot of she was the one who would bail him out of jail after she would call and like report that she was there was domestic violence present. But she's the one who like bailed him out. She was the one who did all that because he would be like, I'm so sorry. Like I would never do that to you. I would never hurt you. You know that I love you. So he would love bomb a lot. So he would use love as an excuse for his actions. So that's kind of how that would look like. But yeah. Okay. There was one person that had their hand up raised the whole time. The one in the back. Yeah. Sorry. And then I'm also free afterwards if you guys want to ask me questions privately. You want to raise your hand? Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you.
For anyone who's, out there trying to heal, what are the best accommodating words to let them know, that it's okay and how you can continue to fix that instead of struggle more?
You can write that on the jeans. Just kidding. No, you can, again, just by participating in something like this, right, wanting to learn about this and wanting to start that education is the first step. Is you guys educating yourselves on what sexual assault is, how to provide the support. So I think some of the things that I mentioned, right, so letting them know that you believe them, letting them know that you're there to support them, not being there, being like law enforcement, asking them a bunch of questions, instead being there and aiding that support to them. Another way that you can provide that support is we actually have a volunteer program. Once you turn 18 and you're interested in it, we do have a volunteer program where you can give back to survivors and you can be the person sitting next to them during that exam. You can answer our hotline, you can provide that support. Not only does it look good for college applications or graduate school, but it also looks good for employment too, and it's also a very fulfilling thing. Anita is actually one of our volunteers. She's one of our newer volunteers, and she went through our program, she learned about crisis intervention, and it's a good opportunity for you guys to look into in the future. But yeah. Alrighty, thank you. Right on time. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Bautista, for your informative and inspiring presentation. So again, let's give her a round of applause. I hope you have enjoyed so far our 2 presentations for the day. I know I have. Now, the part that we've been waiting for, lunch. And we're going to talk about the exhibitor booths. For those joining us live, we're going to return at 1:45 p.m. See you then.
We're gonna play a little bit of freeze dance just for fun and to get y'all energized for the last part of our day. So feel free to spread out. And for those who have really great dance moves, I wanna see them. It will be fun if everyone participates. So the more, the better. You could do a little shimmy, a little side step, whatever you want. All right, guys, we're gonna continue. All right.
No, they can't hear me. Wait, can you guys hear me? Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Jacqueline. I'm Second District's EI coordinator. It seems that we have a good amount of people. Let's get started. You all know how to play free dance, right? No? Can you hear me now? I know it's really low. Okay, so this is how you play freeze dance. Everyone needs to dance as the music plays. When the music stops, each player must freeze immediately and hold that position until the music begins again. If a player does not freeze immediately, they are out and must sit down. Make sure there's enough space that you aren't bumping into those around you. Once we get down to 10 students, those 10 will come up on stage until we have a winner. The winner will get a small prize. All right, are you guys ready? Okay, let's start the music and remember to have fun. Some people in the back were moving. Okay. If you guys move when the music stops, please sit. All right, we're gonna start. Oh, girls in the middle, yep, sit down. Okay.
That would be like
Keep dancing. Don't stop. Boom, swing those hands. Oh, wait, never mind. Okay, you go. Boy in the purple, you're out. I seen that.
carry on.
body safe to shore. Though the truth.
Keep dancing. Oh, two girls right there. Riley and Nassim, you're out.
May vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore.
Keep dancing. Keep dancing. Don't stop. The music's shifting to another song. Keep moving, guys. Don't stop. Boy in the back with the gray set, two-piece set. You're down. All right. Yeah, I seen you move. All right. Huh? All right. All right. We want to see the best dance moves because you guys are too good at freeze dance. So who has the best dance moves? Come to the front. Come to the front. Come on. Come on. You have an awesome prize if you win. Who else? Who else? All right, we'll take like 2 more people. Who else? Who else? Who else? All right, the best dance moves.
Like a moth to flame. Shooting for the stars where I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a time, but I always feel like you'll be okay and everything's alright. Let me in nothing, cause I'm not wanting anything but your love in your body and a little bit of your brain. This is going too long. I'm missing out.
If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise our toast to all of the things from our think it's funny, but honey, can't run this train. There's only so much I can take. I'll show you how a real queen behaves.
That's my stick. All right, we're gonna go based off a screen. Who thinks this is the best dancer? Who thinks he's the best dancer? This person. This person. Check. Rachel, we need the ruffle. The ruffle. Okay, now, let me have the prizes up here. They're gonna hand them. Okay. All right, so make sure you guys are still posting on social media. We have a fun prize for whoever has the best post. But for the time being, we're gonna do the raffle items. So we're gonna first start off with the hydro flask. So, all right. You wanna pick? Or I'll pick, you say the name? does, and they're like, put it up. That's why I like, yeah, I just had zero face. Yeah. I was just screaming. Okay, so the winner for the Hydro Flask is Kaylee Cuevas. Mix it. They said mix it. Here. I have next one. And our last one for the Insta camera is Brandon Shafir. She was elected to the Riverside County Board of Supervisors in November 2018 to represent the 2nd District. Supervisor Spiegel is passionate about the youth of Riverside County and is actively involved with our Youth Advisory Council. Please help me in welcoming Supervisor Karen Spiegel to the stage.
Well, thank you. You cannot be told you don't have energy. I thought after lunch you guys would be all sleeping, I could just say whatever I wanted to, and you wouldn't pay attention. But I was wrong. You guys have had an awesome day. First off, I want to thank you for being here. This is an opportunity that not everybody took, but you are here and you took that. In life, we have a toolbox. I always call it a toolbox. And that is all the resources, the tools, the things we learn. And we keep those close to us. And those come out every once in a while. Have you ever thought you've done something, you go, oh yeah, I remember doing that before? Where someone said something, goes, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Our toolboxes keep us going. And so our goal in life is to continue to fill a toolbox, because you never know what's going to pop in front of you. And I'm telling you, go for it. Because sometimes we always say, it's not the right time. We're going to wait. And then you sit there and he and haw over it for so long, the opportunity goes by. I look at this program and it says, today's youth for tomorrow's leaders. What does that mean? You are tomorrow's leaders. You're our leaders. I have 5 kids, and they're a lot older than you. But my one son always tells me, be nice to me. I'm going to pick your old folks home. You can laugh. It's okay. But what's true is, they're going to be our leaders. You're going to be our leaders. You have opportunities ahead of you, but only you can take them. So continue doing what you're doing, and every day finding something new and different. And you know what? If you're going down a path that you're not happy with, it's okay to change paths. Life is a journey. You've heard that before, right? But it truly is. And every time you go down a path, you never know what's going to be there. But you won't know if you don't take that path, if you don't go seeking out. And change is not always bad. Today you have the opportunity of not only hearing all these speakers and not seeing all the booths outside and talking to people, sharing of information that you aren't aware of, but you've made new friends, right? How many have made a new friend today? Oh, come on. Maybe you are asleep. Remember, everything is not on the program that you got from today. Just remember that. The opportunity of freeze dance isn't on the program. There's so many times in life that we're looking for something to be named, but we miss out on smaller things that just pop in front of you. Keep your eyes open. Take the opportunities that are before you, and you all will be great leaders. And I look forward to watching you as you grow and you progress. and to see who has any desire to get into politics? Anybody? Oh, good, there's a few. We need some new blood, right? Not me, though, right? Not me. But you know what? You never know what that opportunity is going to be. So good luck on your future endeavors. Keep your eyes open, fill your toolbox, and I will see you again.
I'll be here for tomorrow.
Thank you, Supervisor Karen Spiegel, for taking the time to be with us here today. Personally, it has been an honor to serve as the 2nd District Youth Advisory Council Commissioner. Our final presentation for the day is on finding yourself. This is a topic that is personal to each individual and is based on your own life experiences. Here to share with us their experience and their personal journey is Chloe Diaz. Having lived through homelessness and having to navigate the foster system at a very young age, Chloe Diaz knows firsthand the struggles many people in our communities face. She has been at a state-level advocate for homelessness, foster youth, and the LGBTQ+ community. She has spoken about her life and work across the state to help lift the stigmas of marginalized communities. Please help me welcome to the stage, Chloe Diaz.
Is it on? Hello? Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? How was your guys' lunch? What was on the menu? Ooh, sounds delicious. So they gave you a brief intro of who I am and what I've done, but I want to go further into my life story as it is very crazy, as I'd like to say. I'm 28 years old now, and my life started, honestly, at 5 years old. My dad was being arrested, the SWAT came in, and they took us away. I knew from that point in my life that it was gonna be very hard. I knew it was gonna be challenging because who does that happen to every day, you know? Like, who experiences those things at 5 years old and remembers, my life is not gonna be normal? And at that point, I did know my true self. And I know we're here to find who we really are, but I didn't really know at the time what that term was or what to identify as. But I did know that I wasn't in the right body, and I had to hide that part of me in order to survive. So my survival instincts kicked in at 5 years old. And from 5 years old all the way till I was 18 years old, I struggled with addiction, I struggled with homelessness, I struggled with a lot of things that a lot of young people shouldn't have to go through. And I prevailed. Obviously, I'm here, I'm a successful cosmetologist, and I'm a state-level advocate. Thank you, thank you. And that all came with trial and error and a lot of failures and a lot of beating myself up and not thinking I was gonna be good enough to even get past 20 years old. In the back of my mind, I always thought, am I even gonna get past 20 years old? And I'm 28 now, and I'm so full of life, and I have a passion, and I found myself at a young age. And when I was 16 years old, the county came to me, and I was experiencing homelessness. I was living under a tree, still going to school, and I was very vocal, very, very vocal, in the wrong ways, because I was obviously hurting. And the county came up to me and they asked me, would you like to go to the Capitol? I was just like, yes, because it'll give me a bed to sleep in this weekend and I don't have to sleep on the streets. So I was ecstatic. I was like, yes, of course I'll go to the Capitol, and not knowing that I was actually gonna meet assembly members that write bills and proposals that pertain to youth and affect us, and at the time me, and all of us here. It was about foster youth, and it was amazing. I got to go up to them, I was on the news, and I was crying because they were going to arrest me for forging my mother's signature at a young age because my mother wasn't there. So at the time I had to forge her signature to not be a statistic. I didn't want to be a statistic. I wanted to graduate. I wanted to do everything I could to make sure that I didn't end up in poverty just like my family did and the rest of my family members. So I went up to the Capitol. I told them, you're going to arrest this young person for wanting to not be a statistic. This doesn't make any sense. How about we rewrite this bill to make sure that, yes, if there's people that are going to use it in a malicious way or be evil, they should be persecuted. But me, someone that's just trying to graduate, why am I going to be thrown in jail for something like this? This doesn't make any sense. Obviously, we rewrote the bill. Now you have to obviously show that you're in the foster care system, you're unaccompanied, show proof that you are where you say you are. And obviously, if you're lying, you're lying. So I was able to pass that bill with our legislation, which was an accomplishment for a young person because not a lot of young people go to the Capitol and talk about these things. I didn't even know it was possible to do these type of things. Young people being able to go up to our assembly members and tell them, hey, this doesn't fit our community. Why are we passing this? Also, I researched them. I would say, well, you're representing this district, but kind of looking at your history, you don't even understand this district's struggles. So how are you going to be able to represent that district without even knowing what they're going through currently? Economically, everything that's happening, statistics that haven't even increased or decreased since they've been in office. And as a young person, I didn't even know what I was talking about, but it made sense. They were just like, who is this person? Why are they coming every year? And they keep, in a sense, attacking them on bills and policies that affect young people at the time when they thought homeless youth don't exist. They don't exist. They don't couch surf. They don't live on the streets. Until I walked in and I was just like, well, I'm one of those young people you're talking about. And after this conference, after we're done talking and everybody's having a great time, I'm gonna go live under a tree and figure my life out. So while you think there's no homeless youth, we actually do exist. And we should have resources and help to make sure our young leaders aren't in that fear-based realm where they can turn into criminals, where they can make bad choices, where they can become a statistic. I was tired of it. I didn't want that life for me and everybody else around me. So I continued my work, and it got me very far. In 2000, we were able to open a youth homeless shelter. So for 11 through 17-year-olds, the first homeless youth shelter, I believe, in San Bernardino County. It's 11 through 17-year-olds, and it had up to 16 beds now. And we actually just recently opened up one in San Bernardino, and there's one in Mentone. So I was one of the young leaders that helped with that, being able to open a youth place for people to go if they're homeless, experiencing runaways, especially runaways, because that was a bigger thing. There was more statistics on runaways than there was homelessness, so they categorize it differently. So we always want to make sure we're looking at the verbiage that they're using in legislation. I know it's something that not a lot of people are interested in, but it does affect us, and we want to make sure that all of our voices are heard, and if it's not you, then you find someone to make sure your voice is heard. Because if you don't do that, then eventually it's going to affect you. Fast forward, oh, the balloon was like, yes. Fast forward, in 2018, my life calmed down. I wasn't homeless anymore. I had a career at 18. I became a licensed cosmetologist. While I was homeless, 16 through 18, I was in beauty school, rolling them perms, figuring out my life, trying to find myself, but also through that journey, I did journalism, I did choir, guitar, piano, anything I could take to figure out, who am I? What do I want to do? I literally thought I was going to be a musician. Look at me now, I'm a cosmetologist and a state level advocate. That was nowhere near my realm of what I thought I was going to be. And once I stepped into that beauty school at the age of 16, my eyes glistened. I was like, this is the place where I want to be. Making people beautiful, making people happy. Honestly, hair to me is therapy because my clients come in, we talk about the hardest things you could ever fathom. It's almost like as if I'm a therapist, honestly, because they tell me a lot of things. And I sit there and encourage them to continue to do better, get more therapy for themselves. We have a good time. Obviously, if they're 18 and above, we have mimosas for them. I work at a very high-end salon, so I want to make sure that the environment is amazing for them. Things that I never received as a youth, I wanted to make sure I gave back to the community. And that's why I was one of the young leaders in San Bernardino to open a drop-in center, and I ran it for 3 years. I managed a team to make sure that they learned how to do street outreach to assess the youth and make sure that they had housing, make sure that they had hygiene, make sure that they have resources for their family, and make sure that they were heard. We had a youth advisory board where we would take those individuals and take them to the Capitol. So whatever issues were going on in the districts that they were representing, they would go and talk to that district leader. And then from there, we would teach those young people how to articulate their words in a way that legislation will understand. Because we have to remember legislation is its own world. And obviously they made it very hard for young people to be invested, but I've trained youth to be invested in a way where they can understand what they're trying to say. Because that's what it is. We need to change the verbatim of what's going on in this country, and it needs to represent the masses of our youth. We're the young leaders, right? Not me, I'm 28. But the people in this room, you guys are our young leaders. Your guys' ideals, your guys' perspectives are super important, and you're gonna be gearing us in the future eventually, and I would love to see that. Your guys' energy today was amazing. I was like, oh my God, I wish I was that excited when I was your guys' age. Obviously, we all go through things, and obviously we deal with a lot of things, but by 2018, I found myself. I saw representation. I saw a lot of trans people coming out, and I didn't even know, I was scared. I knew it was gonna come with a lot of backlash, but I knew it was my life. And so I just decided to medically transition in 2018 to start the steps of what's gonna make me happy. And I didn't do it for anybody else but myself. I obviously went to a therapist. I talked to them about what was going on. And as an LGBT advocate, I knew what would happen to young people, especially if they don't figure out their mental health issues first. Imagine diving into something that's so out there and so new to certain people. I had to make sure I was safe in myself. I had to make sure that I healed a majority of my traumas that I experienced growing up before I lived my life as Chloe, and wanting to be happy and not allowing my past self to then jeopardize my current life. And I did a lot of healing, and I'm still healing. We all heal. Trauma, it is a scar. It will be there forever, but it's how you perceive it. It's how you move forward. It's how you look at yourself and say, you know what? It's all perception. If I look at it in a negative way, you're gonna get a negative reaction. If I look at it in a positive way, even though it's the darkest moment in your life and you feel like it's the darkest moment, it's gonna be greener on the other side. There was so many times where I wanted to give up, looking at the stars thinking why is this happening to me? Why am I living on the streets? And I knew other people were going through it, but it's hard. And I don't know if any of you young people are experiencing that or know anyone that have experienced that. It's devastating to your psyche. It's devastating to your mental health. But I was able to form a family that protected me and made sure that I blossomed and made sure that I had a family to grow and continue to live my life as an openly trans woman in this world where they always step on us, but I won't allow it. Thank you, guys. So I'm gonna open up questions for you guys if you have any for me. I'm an open book, obviously be age appropriate, and we can discuss anything that you guys want to discuss or any questions that you have for me. Pretty much anything, the floor is open.
as a LGBTQ advocate, you do presentations or to widespread schools, or is it
Yes,
just
so usually when it comes to LGBT, I connect human trafficking with it because a lot of people in the LGBTQ community are more susceptible to human trafficking, something that's not talked about in our communities and should be talked about because human traffickers do target youth. And they go after youth that are displaced or in a space where they're not obviously looked at, honestly. They're usually going after the homeless, they're going after the trans people, they're going after the men, they're going after boys. Boys, it's not talked about that they're being human trafficked. So just breaking that statistic in schools and making sure that they know the signs of human trafficking that correlates to LGBT, and then anything LGBT related, like terms, pronouns, all of those great things. Somebody in the back? Yeah. I love conservatives. Let me tell you something. Conservatives, we need to get rid of the divide. And that divide is Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, all these terms that technically divide us. At the end of the day, we're people. And before I do hair, so a lot of my clients are very diverse. I work in Redlands, a very conservative place. Me, a trans woman, walking in, and they have no idea. But I'm very open, so eventually the conversation will arise, and we'll talk about it. And they're just like, wow, you changed my perspective on trans people. And just meeting a trans person is amazing. Like, I didn't even know that you were trans. Like, that's crazy. And I'm like, okay, cool. But also, we do talk about those bills that affect us, and they view my point and I view theirs. I see where they're coming from, and they see where I'm coming from. So we're able to meet middle ground rather than battle. And if you're having issues with conservatives that are just not accepting, bye. Like, it's okay, because we live in the United States where it's freedom of speech. They can do whatever they want. We could do whatever we want. Let them live. If they don't want you in your life, hey, they're losing something great.
It's not working. Anyways, I have a concern as well as a question. Did you know that a lot of LGBTQ youth in foster care tend to be AWOL or run away from their homes because there's either a lot of non-accepting parents or a lot of bullying or a lot of trafficking that go on in those homes? And what would you do as a youth or an advocate for them? Because I understand that that can be very harmful to their mental health or accreditation, and it can be some of the most motivating benefactors why they end up on the streets or homeless or substance abusing. It's a huge problem. So what would you do?
I was one of them. I struggled with addiction as an LGBT person. And for me, I went to where I felt safe. I went to our centers that we had, and if I didn't know where they were at, I asked adults at school campuses where they can point me in the right direction to be around my people, to make sure that I feel welcomed and I feel secure, and make sure that I understand my community, not only just being in the comfort of my community, but also learning the history of my community, learning that it's not just what we've been perceived for the past 30 years of what LGBT is. In the past 100 years, in the past 200 years, they don't fully educate you. You have to take the time to educate yourself on topics, because sometimes they're gonna only show you a little bit of what goes on. And when you actually look at the full scope of everything, you're like, wow, your whole perspective changes. So I would recommend going to a drop-in center that's LGBT safe and asking them for resources and making sure they can help feed you off of those addictions or that person going through addictions, because it takes time. I meet the youth where they're at. I never demonize them for doing any type of drug, any type of sexual activity, because if you do that, then it destabilizes them. It makes them even worse. So I help them get out of that when they're ready.
What steps did you take to get over previous self-identity problems before you
realized your identity?
I exposed myself to a lot of, mind you, I grew up by myself. I didn't have any parents. So for me, it was a little bit different. I didn't have any guidance. I guided myself. And for me, I needed to consume any type of knowledge to be able to live, to be able to sustain something. So I consume myself with all these people with their ideals of what they think gender is and gender ideology and all those great things on both sides of conservatism and people that are more liberal. I learned the difference between each side and what it actually correlates to. And what that correlates to is just self-expression. I think what's happening too, and what we're noticing, is a cultural shift. And obviously older generations don't like that. So we, as younger people, are seeing this cultural shift. We're coming in and we're saying, we're not really for fat-phobic people. We're not really for people that are gonna hate on you because of your gender or your expression or any of that. We just wanna live. And if we can't have that, I've noticed that the youth of today are revolting against our government. And I like that, because we are the ones in power, not the government. We have to make sure that we are being represented, not what the government wants for us.
How would someone get over their gender envy?
Say that again?
Get over their gender envy.
Get over it?
Yeah, or yeah.
Like not wanting to express it, or?
Oh, envy. Gender envy.
Say that again, one more time.
How would someone get over their gender envy?
Give me an example. Are you asking about the transition process?
Kinda.
Kinda?
Yeah.
So right now, when it comes to trans identity, a lot of things are happening with legislation and a lot of things are happening with the medical aspect of things. During my medical transition in the beginning of 2018, they made me take a psych eval, which was fine with me because to me, I'm fine, I'm not crazy, I have the cleanest record ever. I should just be able to live my life, right? Like, it's not hurting anyone, basically. So they put you through a psych eval, they put you through a lot of mental health services to make sure that you are ready for what's happening, and they also bring to you medical decisions. So obviously you can medically transition if you would like to, but they tell you what happens if you do so. Me personally, I think the whole trans everything, you don't have to medically transition to be trans. And I know that's a controversial topic, but as young people, if that's what you choose, that's what you choose. But me personally, you don't have to do those things to be what you want to identify as. Because think of it in the long term, when you start mutilating your body at a young age or doing those type of things to yourself, what's really happening to you? What's really happening to your body? It hasn't really fully developed. So it creates a little chaos in your body. So I'm glad that they still have the interview process when it comes to transitioning medically.
How hard was it to get the bill passed, and how did you feel during the process?
What bill?
The bill that you passed. When you were younger, like when you were like.
It wasn't hard at all.
Was it?
I'm very loud and vocal. As soon as I stepped into the office, I let them know what was going on, how preposterous it was for them to even fathom throwing a 16-year-old in jail for forging a signature for not wanting to be a statistic, and they literally took it. Obviously, I didn't write the bill in like legislation words, but they took my experiences and my verbatim, and then they put it into a bill and passed it to where it was, you have to show proof that you're in the foster care system, that you're unaccompanied, and all those great things, especially if you are someone that doesn't have parental supervision, or if you're in the social worker system, usually foster care, your parent is the social worker. So just making sure you have the right provisions, and then with that, it can be difficult when you're trying to pass bills and policies in California, especially on LGBT topics, because we obviously battle two different sides. But I feel like it's getting a little bit more progressive as I'm noticing as it's going.
So bouncing off the one question from earlier about the conservative people, what if those conservative people are your parents? Because I know you said to block them out, but since I am underage, how would I deal with that, having a conservative parent and not being really able to tell them that I am a part of the LGBTQ community?
It's tricky. It's really tricky. I know a lot of youth come to me with their conservative parents. So when I had a drop-in center, I would host LGBTQ&As with parents and have the parents come in with their child, however they expressed, and then help dive in with those parents, their concerns, and kind of break up their myths that they have in fear-based relations towards their child or individual person. Because usually what it is, and you have to think of it in their perspective too. They're your parent. They're scared. They don't necessarily want you to go through that lifestyle because they know how hard it is. But also, all you have to do is show them how strong you are and that you aren't going to give up and you will persevere. And regardless of how you identify, it shouldn't really matter because they should love you at the end of the day. And I haven't really seen any conservative parents shy away from their parents. Mind you, I have a few times. But in reality, if that does happen to you, all I can say is you will build a family and it'll be stronger than ever.
I have a question. Is there any LGBTQ bills that haven't been passed yet that we could advocate for right now?
There's so many. Even if you just Google LGBT bills that are currently being processed or anti-LGBT bills, I believe there's over 300 now. All over the country. Obviously, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with what's going on with the LGBTQ community, but drag queens were just prohibited from performing in Tennessee, which is ridiculous. But like I said, if you look into legislation and what that really means, it is anybody of the opposite sex dressing as the other, that includes trans people. So what they're doing is targeting drag queens, but it actually switches and it targets trans people at the same time. But nobody's really talking about that. So always keeping up with these bills. If it's in different states, it's harder for us to advocate. What we can do is empower those youth in those states to step up and talk about those things and make sure that those bills don't pass, which, mind you, the shooting that just happened in, I believe it was Texas, where was it at? Tennessee, the same place. All the youth marched to the Capitol and said enough is enough. That is very powerful. Young people marching to the Capitol and telling them, do your job, because you're obviously not doing it. Young people are dying at the expense of what older generations are thinking is gonna save the rest of us. It's not working. That's why our representative from earlier, if you're not interested in politics, I'm not solely invested in politics, but I make sure that my voice is heard when these things are happening. Because I don't want to be a politician. I'm a hairstylist. I love doing hair. I'm too outlandish to be up there in a suit and talk about bills and policies all the time. It would drain me. So for me, I just step in when I need to, when they need a stronger advocate to talk about these things. But other than that, I leave it to the people that have those degrees. You do you, boo. I'll come and advise, and we'll roll together. I knew you had a question.
What would you say to someone who is struggling to find themselves or find the things that they're interested in?
Where are you at? How old are you?
I'm 14. I'm about to turn 15.
And are you trying to find yourself internally, or are you trying to find yourself externally with some type of distraction of a hobby or a job or?
More of hobbies, because I already know what I want to do as a job, but just hobby-wise, there are so many things in the world that are interesting. And just so, what would you tell to someone who is struggling to narrow down their interests?
I did it all. So I just started playing in everything, guitar, piano, choir, beat making, everything, until I really figured out, does it make me happy? Did I go to it and actually relieve any type of stress? Did I actually go to it and go into a realm of honestly pure happiness and just finding myself growing within that hobby and not just allowing it to honestly be a distraction from your life? Because a lot of people tend to have hobbies and distractions instead of actually enjoying those hobbies and perceiving them as distractions. You should always enjoy the things that you do to the fullest extent, because what I've noticed is we always live in the future, we're never living in the present moment. And so while we're living in the future, we're losing our youth. And we're stressing over things that haven't even happened yet, and we're putting out into the universe that I don't know if I'm ready, or I don't know what I'm gonna find. Do it all until you really find pure happiness within whatever you're trying to do. She had a question.
What kind of suggestions would you give for the young people who's currently suffering from the comment of the outside world, not only just like LGBT related, but also that some of their decision is not like approved by the people around them?
Like struggling with people just being rude to you in general?
No, just like not approving their decisions, not being supportive.
It's a conflicting thing, because we have to remember there's going to be people in this world we're not going to correlate with, or even get along with, or even just want to be in the same room with. So usually when I have those type of environments around me, and I say environments because sometimes they come in a hurdle, and you can feel it. I know a lot of you can feel, your body sends out signals to you, and that's if you're in tune with yourself. I'm very in tune with myself, so my body will send me signals and tell me, I gotta go. This isn't the group for me, these aren't the people for me, and that's fine, because I'm all about inclusion, but I won't tolerate hate. I won't tolerate displacement of someone because of what they perceive to be right. I always like to meet people in the middle ground, because if we're not meeting in the middle, then that means you're trying to dominate me, and that's not gonna work. In this country, it should be where we collectively get together as a community, and we talk about issues, and we figure out how we can all collectively live together without somebody feeling secluded based off of another person's bias.
Oh, how are you able to stay so strong and clear-headed while facing difficult situations that life throws at you?
I know. Everybody always asks me that. It's my spirit. I'm spiritual. Not everyone is. In 2016, no, I think it was when I was 16, not 2016, I went to a spiritual conference. And I thought it was baloney. I was like, these people are crazy. They're over here saying that they're talking to angels and archangels, and I'm over here like, okay, like, right, like, okay, like, but I didn't want to judge either. Like, I was just like, okay, awesome. And so there was kind of like this, there was 1,000 people in the room, and I honestly did not want to be there. And I sat in the back, all the way in the back. On that side, I sat all the way in the back. And this lady said, everybody get up and start dancing. I was like, I'm not dancing. There's no way I'm gonna dance. But she was just like, everybody dance, everybody dance. And then everybody's dancing, everybody's great. And she's like, who feels like they're not here? And I raised my hand, thinking she's not gonna see me. You all the way in the back. I was like, oh shit. She's like, come to the front of the stage. You're gonna come up here and talk to everyone. I'm like, what in the world? Like, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go up there. I don't know what she wants from me. Let's see what this is about. Come up on stage. She's like, what do you see in the audience? And I'm like, they're all smiling at me. It's really weird. And she's just like, well, that's the universe smiling at you. That's your spirit smiling at you. She's a world-renowned spiritualist. She's actually backed by her PhD, her master's degree. She has so many degrees to back her, how you would say, psychic abilities. So I, at the time, didn't believe her. I was like, she's crazy. But she actually called me and did what are they called? Kind of like a spiritual connection. And she told me things that I never told anybody. And from that point on, she awakened my spiritual side. She allowed me to consume spirituality. Mind you, I do believe in God. I believe that there is a higher power and that correlates to God. Whether you believe that or not, it's all just different forms and how you believe in it. But for me, that spiritual realm that I entered changed my life. Whether that's if you believe in God, whether that's believe in spirituality, Buddhism, all those other religions, it took me to a place where I had hope. And through that hope, I was able to continue. And I would always pray, whether that was to God or the higher power or the universe, and I was blessed. I started getting blessings because affirmations are real. I started just saying, I was in beauty school and I was homeless. I need a blow dryer because I couldn't afford one. And literally that day, the esthetician teacher came up and she's like, I want to give you a blow dryer. I started crying. I was like, what the hell? I was like, you heard me or something. There's no way. And she's just like, well, I love you and you always come to my class and you're so nice and you just yourself and I just want to gift you this. It was a bomb blow dryer at the time. It had it was like a speed race car engine in it or something. I think it was like a Ferrari engine. But through spirituality, I was able to keep myself sane and ground myself. I do a lot of grounding techniques, breathing. I love to breathe. Obviously, we all breathe. But it's how you breathe and how you connect to yourself. You're really able to hear people. You're really able to connect with people rather than just reply. You're able to really connect with one another. And that's how I stay so positive, is I really love connecting with someone and making sure that they feel valid and make sure that they feel seen.
I know I've asked a lot of questions, but this is my last one. What is your message to trans youth and trans teenagers who are suffering from oppression in the system and gender dysphoria?
You just gotta continue the journey. It's not gonna be easy. When they would come into my hands at my drop-in center, I would always let them know. And recently I just lost one of my girls. She was human trafficked, and I knew her when she was 16 years old. I worked at a homeless youth shelter for 11 through 17-year-olds for about a year and a half. And so I got to really help these kids get over a lot of traumas that their family inflicted on them or society has inflicted on them, and help them really identify themselves and be able to understand that as a society, it's going to be hard for everybody to integrate. But if you don't stand out, if you don't continue to live your life, you're not going to be able to stand strong. And making sure that they're able to live in a way where, of course, it's going to hurt when people tell you, you're not that, you're never going to be that gender. That's all outside chatter. For me now as an adult, when somebody says anything rude to me or tries to discredit me in any type of way, I kind of just say, that's just your perspective, and I feel sorry that you feel that way and you have to live in such hateful realm, but I still wish you the best, and I hope you well. I mean, for those youth, for youth specifically, losing my girl earlier this year was really hard because I helped her transition. I helped her understand what that was, and in a sense, she was like my daughter, and she asked me to be her mom. And at the time, I was like, never, you could never be in the house of Diaz. But I loved her like she was my own. And I recently found out she overdosed because she did struggle with addiction. And it took a lot out of me. I was like, wow, I didn't think I was gonna lose someone, but I gained so much from her. learning so much about trans youth at the time. She was younger than me, and she taught me so much as an older trans person. We were able to sit there and really just understand each other and honestly cackle, and everybody else around us were like, what are they talking about? And it's like, if you're not in the community, you won't understand, but maybe you should watch some RuPaul's Drag Race and then you'll get it. Perfect.
Sorry.
Question here.
Growing up, you talked about how you went to school and you didn't really have like parental figures in your life. How was going? Oh, I'm sorry. How was going through school like that when you were younger?
There was a lot of people that wanted to beat me up. I'm not gonna lie. I did struggle a lot with bullying. But I learned, eventually those people reached out to me later and they confessed that either they were interested or they were just taught to be that way. And I didn't hate them. I didn't, at the time I did, but as you grow up, you start learning that those are taught behaviors. And I can't continue to have hate in myself because somebody else wants to pass that on to me. Somebody else wants to bully me. Somebody else wants to make my experience in high school worse because they have something internally wrong with them. Because you're just expressing yourself. You're honestly just living your life. And then if somebody else comes around in high school, one of your peers, and they start bullying you for that reason, usually I see that as a reflection. I'm like, something's going on in your life that you have to reflect that anger on me. What's going on? Usually, statistically, those people that bully you, make it a hard time, they're usually in the community and they just can't come out. So making sure you're just positive and making sure that even though you're getting bullied, you have to reflect grace. Because if you continue and perpetuate that type of hate, it's not gonna go anywhere. And I would just befriend them, honestly. Figure out what's really going on, educate them. If you can. If it's a bad situation, I say stay away.
I have a question over here. So is there a certain person or a friend in your life that helped you like realize who you are and like helped you find yourself? And if so, how are you able to, as us, how are you able to be that person for someone else?
I found my friend in beauty school, actually. I was the first youth leader to join the beauty school's like outreach team. They didn't think young people should have a voice when it came to adult decisions and a lot of adult curriculums, and I broke that. I said, no, that's ridiculous. Smart people, young people are smart. They're not dumb. And they should be a part of the conversation, and we should never exclude youth from conversations that'll help better the community. So I broke that barrier, became the first youth outreach for the beauty school. I met my mentor. He's still my mentor today. His name is George. He's a gay man. He was 21, I was 16. But we learned, he knew I was trans before I came out. He was just like, there's something about you, but I don't know what it is. You remind me of my sister. I'm gonna call you sister. And ever since then, I would just be like, brother, and he would be like, sister. And to me, it would make me so happy that he, in a sense, validated me as who I want to be and how I perceive myself. And from there, he just gave me unconditional love. He didn't understand it at first. He was definitely, at first he thought I was a drag queen too. He was like, you're a drag queen, there's no way, you have to be a drag queen. And I'm like, no, I don't want to take it off at the end of the day. I just want to continue to live. Like, there's differences between realms and terms and all those things, but for me, it's an expression eternally, like it's never gonna go away. And he was just my support system in any way he can be. He defended me if somebody got crazy in public, which it rarely happens, but if it does, he would just be like, that's my sister, and you're not gonna do anything to her. I would make sure, but always having someone that's super supportive and willing to understand your community. I'll show him educational videos on trans rights and trans people that are transitioning all over the world, and it shifted his perspective. He kind of understands more now of what trans people go through, and he opened up his eyes as a gay man, because gay men have privileges, they're men. And I knew that privilege as a man. And when I transitioned into a woman, I lost a lot of privileges. And he noticed that too. He was like, you don't get the same treatment anymore. And I'm like, it's because I'm a woman, and women aren't treated as equally as men. And I'm tired of that. I want to stand with women and make sure that we are all be able to live our lives and stand equally with men and not behind them.
What is one way, as a person who's not a part of the LGBTQ community, that can help people who are?
Just being an ally, being supportive, as understanding as you can be, and ask as many questions. I would say I don't know if your guys' county has a lot of LGBT support groups, but if they don't, you young people can initiate them yourselves, and you can create support groups within your school districts. All you need is one teacher to back it, and then sign the paperwork, and then you can start a support group and start talking about how you can ally yourself and learn more about terminologies, pronouns, and all those things that are gonna make people feel included. 3 more minutes, you guys. Any more questions?
I have a question. So, I'm right here.
I don't like where.
Are you happy now, and what's the next step in your journey, whether in politics, cosmetology, or life in general?
I'm definitely happy now. I'm so much more happier. The next steps, honestly, are to continue what I do. Now I'm a educator for a salon, so I'm teaching young people how to do hair at a high-end salon, teaching them how to have an amazing life, and also education's important, but I also want to show people that trades are super important too, and you can make more money, if not triple, quadruple the amount of what a doctor can make. I know it's controversial that a lot of people only say education is what you can go for. I support education, but also I support trades, because we're losing trades as we move just into education. We're losing those skills that we should all know, and we should all fathom, and we should all love. And for me, hairdressing is an art. It evolves all the time. Generations change, so my craft changes. So it makes it happy for me, because I have to reevaluate myself, change my skills, learn, and then I'm getting younger people to come in my chair, and they're making me do some crazy things, but I love it at the end of the day, because that's my job, is to make people happy. And that expression through them, through hair, you guys don't know how much happy that makes me. Like, they're like, oh my God, I love my hair. I'm the baddest bee in the school. And I'm like, oh, yay. And then as for politics, I will continue to do it as long as I can, and as long as they give me a platform to do so. Mind you, I've been doing it for 11 plus years now, and it's been amazing as a young trans woman, being able to talk to people about my perspective and be able to shed light on a lot of things, but also hold grace for people when they have, questions that are more ignorant. And I think that's everything. Do we? Mm-hmm. Let me think
We'll turn it off first. Let me turn it off.
All right. Guys, settle down, settle down. Thank you so much, Chloe, for speaking with us today and giving such a wonderful, impactful, and inspirational presentation. Let's give her a round of applause. Well, everyone, all great things must come to an end, and just like the end of our event today, we hope that you all had a wonderful time and learned valuable information, gathered informative resources, and feel empowered on moving forward in your futures. There will be so many people involved that helped make this event possible. So I'd like to personally thank each and every one of the Youth Advisory Council members in attendance here today for helping make this event a success. I would also like to thank Riverside County Board of Supervisors, their staff, community organizers, and all the schools and advisors that brought you here today. This event was recorded live, streamed on Facebook, and will also be highlighted on the RivCo TV channel. So check it out and share it with those who are unable to come in person today. Thank you all at home for joining us. And now we'll be ending our live broadcast. But don't any of you go anywhere.